Because I'm so serious about your success, I know that if you work the system, and that if you get clear, and that if you put in the work, and that if you then stay connected to a community that's going to keep that fire lit, that's why we've created it, that you're going to hit your targets on YouTube. And if you haven't joined Video Ranking Academy yet, get into Video Ranking Academy. The system is there for you. The coursework is there for you. It is the absolute next best step if you're not in it yet. Recommit or join, but work the system.
Do you remember when you were in school and they had those connect the dot pages, you know, where you started at 1 and then you drew to 2 and then to 3 and then maybe all the way to 100. And at the end of actually connecting all the dots, an image was appearing on the page. Maybe it was in kindergarten, it was a tree or a fox or something like that. But at the end, you had created something from nothing by just connecting the dots. And in today's episode, we are wrapping up a 5-part series all about how you can go full-time, take the leap to going full-time. And we're teaching you how Think Media, the content creators here, as well as thousands of other YouTube creators have been able to connect the dots to YouTube success. Hey, my name is Heather Torres, and I'm the host of the Think Media podcast. This is the #1 podcast to help you grow your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high impact and a high profit online business. If you are brand new to this podcast, I want to say welcome. We are so excited that you are joining us on this journey, either listening or watching over on YouTube or on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're consuming this content. Thank you so much for being a part of our community and what we're doing here on Think Media. I want to encourage you to subscribe to wherever you're listening to this content on, and if you're over on YouTube, click that like button and let me know what your favorite episode so far has been if you're a returning viewer. Now, today's episode is brought to you by growwithvideolive.com. I am so excited to announce that Grow with Video Live will be back in person in Las Vegas in May of 2022. You can get your tickets right now at growwithvideolive.com. We have speakers like Gary Vaynerchuk, Sean Cannell, Omar Altakori, and so many other speakers that are being announced so soon. So make sure you get that ticket before we sell out. This is the top video marketing conference for anyone who wants to learn how to grow their influence online using video. So get your tickets now at growwithvideolive.com. Now, this episode is actually the final episode in a 5-part series that we've been walking through over the last several weeks. I hope you have been locked and loaded into this entire series. It has been so amazing to read your comments on YouTube, see your reviews over on iTunes, and it's been so encouraging to see how you are actually taking action in all of these steps to becoming a full-time content creator. Now, we have gone through the law of preparation, the law of momentum, the law of sacrifice, and your business mindset. Now, the first part of this episode is actually a snippet of a talk that Sean gave at Grow with Video Live this year. He's going to talk about that, and then afterwards, Sean and I are going to come on and have a conversation about this action step that content creators are taking that is actually helping them grow, which is connecting the dots, which is understanding how YouTube works and understanding that trying to do this journey alone can be really hard. So let's jump into the featured conversation and that snippet, and I'll meet you on the other side.
Are you ready to go beyond the basics of marketing? I'm Alan Hart, and this is Marketing Beyond, where we talk about the questions that spark change and share ideas that challenge the status quo. Join us as we explore the future of marketing and its endless potential. Today on the show, we got Andy Lopez. He's the Senior Vice President and Head of North America Marketing at Behr Paint. And he's the youngest global head of marketing for Behr in more than 75-year history. He leads their brand marketing department, overseeing global B2C and B2B brand strategy, creative media, PR, design, digital innovation, consumer experience, and research. And Behr is one of the most trusted paint brands in the US and Canada. On the show today, we talk about his history, where he got his start in the advertising world, how he made his way to Behr, We talk a lot about their program of Color of the Year. How does it work? How does it work from a marketing standpoint? How do they come up with these colors and the names for the colors to boot? And then we'll go a little bit further in talking about how they're seeing success in social media and the partnership that they have with the Home Depot. That and much more with Andy Lopez. Andy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Alan. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about paint and color. But before we, I know, very exciting, especially if you like decorating or changing the look of things around you. But before we go there, I normally try to get something from people that's personal story, a fun fact, a hobby. But I hear you have 3 kids under the age of 8, so you probably have time for none of that.
Yeah, exactly. My interests usually lie within whatever is that of interest to my kids, and whether that's on the hockey rink or on the soccer field, or I recently actually just signed them all up for jiu-jitsu, which has been pretty fun and exciting. I get asked a lot how you do it. How do you manage what you're able to manage from a professional perspective while having 3 kids under the age of 8? And I'm not saying my situation is more difficult than others, but I think one thing that gets me through the day is every morning I wake up around 4 a.m. I'm able to get a quick exercise in, and then I come back and I'm usually able to, at minimum, squeeze 1, if not 2 cups of coffee and catch up on some email news. And then, I think about the movie Jumanji when, they're all sitting in the living room and they hear that stampede come in. And that's pretty much my daily, is all 3 kids usually wake up at the same amount of time, come in, it's ready for breakfast, packing lunches, and it becomes a little bit hectic. But that little bit of time, that little small window of opportunity, that's what gets me through the day, and that's what makes me come back the next day. That's how I get through it.
I love it. I'm reflecting on your choices of activities for the kids, and I'm actually a little scared for you. So you first gave them sticks with hockey, then you gave them balls with soccer, and now they're going to take you down.
You're going to take me down. Exactly.
Yeah. You live dangerously. You live dangerously.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. From kids to career.
Yes.
Where'd you get your start in your career? And you are now the senior vice president and head of North America marketing at Behr Paint.
Yes. So I started my career in the advertising industry. And right after college, I got a job at Saatchi & Saatchi working on the Toyota business, and then grew up in the advertising industry before I came to work at Behr Paint. And so through that experience, I was able to not only work at amazing brands like Toyota, but also really diversified my background in different industries, worked at smaller shops, worked at larger shops, and then found this opportunity at Behr to just continue to grow and expand my career and challenge myself in a different way, while still hanging on to something that I was passionate about, which was the creative and strategic process of being able to take brands to a new level. And so I started my career at Behr about almost 8 years ago. And through those 8 years, I've always been within the brand marketing space, and I've just continued to be able to elevate my role and take on additional scope. And last year, I elevated to heading up the entire marketing department. And so been super rewarding and exciting to just take on new challenges and do some exciting stuff for the brand.
Love it.
Yeah.
Cool. And unless my listeners are living in a country that you don't reach or living under a rock, they probably already know what Behr as a paint company does. But maybe you can give us just a sense of the size and scope of the business.
Yeah, definitely. So Behr is a nationally recognized architectural paint business that has been around for over 75 years. And we employ around 4,000 people across the United States and other parts of the globe across multiple departments, not just marketing, but we have R&D, we have an amazing sales team, finance, product, everything that you can think of from a manufacturing company. And so within the 75 years, over the last 45 years, we've been an exclusive brand at the Home Depot. And so that has been an amazing trajectory of being there when the Home Depot opened its first stores in Atlanta. And we really have just grown beyond just paint. So a lot of people know us for our interior paint products, but we also have stain products, and we've expanded into other adjacent products like spray paint and interior stain. And so, and we've been around for 75 years. We're the most trusted paint brand in America. And so it's been an amazing brand to work for. And I think that's what makes it so exciting to be at the top of the marketing team and being able to drive this brand forward.
I think that the thing that caught my eye was your recent release of Color of the Year. And it made me wonder, like, why did Bear decide to begin this kind of annual Color of the Year program in itself?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So Color of the Year has been almost a table stake now for our industry and really, a way to talk about color in a big way. So we started our Color of the Year about 7 to 8 years ago. And the reason why we started it to begin with was really to make it easier for consumers to feel confident about the color that they're putting on their walls. It's a pretty big decision. It's an exciting one to be able to transform your space with a different color, but it could be a little bit intimidating. And so that really is what drove us to launch Color of the Year, was to help give people that validation that, hey, this is a trending color. We've done our research. We've been able to do the legwork to make it easier for you to feel more confident about transforming your space with this specific color. And so that's how we've launched it. And then we just continue to evolve that over the years, with the goal always being to help consumers feel good about the color that they're putting on their wall and using in their space.
Yeah, no, it's definitely exciting. Like, how do you choose the right color of the year?
Yeah,
it seems like a very stressful process for me anyway.
Yeah, definitely. It's a collective and collaborative effort, and it's a pretty iterative process. And so obviously, without giving too much away, we start really looking globally across trends that are happening across the globe in different industries. So we're not just looking in home decor, but we're looking in fashion, in tech, in auto, and just understanding what's resonating. We're also looking outside of the United States. We're in Europe and understanding what is some of the trends that are happening that will eventually hit the United States across some of those industries. And then we partner closely with the Home Depot, and they have an amazing trends and design team that look at designs and trends that are happening across other categories, obviously outside of paint. And so we work with them, and then we do some consumer validation as well. And so before we go to market and before we really put the stake in the ground on one specific color, we want to make sure that it's a color that people would be able to use in their space, and it's evoking the emotion that we're trying to convey through our messaging about how this color can really transform the space. And so that's some of the process that it takes over time in order to really come out with a Color of the Year to, again, make consumers feel better about using it in their space.
I love that. But not only do you come out with the color, the visual, if you will, but you got to name these colors too. Like, where do the names come from? They seem very inventive.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so funny because we always get that question. People are very interested in how we come up with the names for our paint colors. And so we have some legacy color names, and we have some names that we've changed over time, but really we like to make sure that it's relevant within culture. We look at specific macro and micro moments that are happening, and we want to make sure that the name feels relevant and relatable to the color that they're looking for, but it also is able to evoke the emotion that we want them to feel by using this color in their space, whether that's interior or exterior. And so that's how we go through the process. Is we look at whatever the color is, we start there and understand the hue family. And then we figure out some of the trends that are happening of how we came up with that color. And maybe there's some language there of the way that we describe it that can help create the name. But then we look at moments that are happening and things that are happening in language that people are using to describe different things or different feelings or different moods. So we try to make it as relevant as possible, and something that would also be a little timeless, so people would understand the rhyme and reason of why that color that they're choosing has the name that it has.
Love it. Interesting. It's not that different. In many cases, it is different, but it's from naming brands, like a new product or new brand. It's very similar type of process.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is such an iterative process. I don't think anyone can say whether they're naming a new product, a new brand, or even a color that they're single-handedly doing that themselves. It is something that takes an effort of a team. And really, that idea of great ideas can come from anywhere. And we don't have just one person doing it. It's really a team effort.
Awesome. It's a huge effort. I'm curious, as you think about color of the year, it's definitely a moment, if you will, that kicks off, I'm sure, quite a bit of work for you guys. But how do you think about it in terms of driving both interest and purchase across the paint category?
Definitely. Because we've done it now for the last 8 years, we have been able to build some equity in where people are now looking forward to this announcement and they expect it from us. And so that has been nice to build that over time. And so then, since we have that expectation and that excitement, we really want to make sure that we're evolving it and continuing to change it. And again, it always is grounded in the idea of we want to help people feel great about the color that they're choosing to put on their wall. But what we try to do is launch it in different ways, both to our media when we do a large PR event and really immerse them in the experience of how we came up with the color and how the color will transform the space of the readers that are reading their magazine or publication. And then what we want to do is bring that same type of feeling, that same type of experience to our consumers and our professionals and our designers. And so we have different campaigns in order to reach that specific audience. And so for this color of the year specifically, we've been able to launch it with the media and create a very immersive experience to really bring the color Rumors. So for those who don't know that are listening, Rumors is our 2025 color of the year. And so it is a deep ruby red. And it's the first time we've come out with a shade of a red for our color of the year. So that was new and that was exciting for our brand. And then in addition to that, as many brands are doing, they're finding ways and relevant ways to tap into a younger generation that is starting for our home improvement space, buying homes and looking for ways to transform their homes in a way that we were able to connect with them in a different way that we haven't done before is through a partnership with a nail polish company called Olive and June. So we were able to create a custom co-branded nail polish with our 2025 color of the year Rumors and launch that around the same time across our social channels. And so that was a really exciting way for us to, again, do something new in the space, be able to reach a new audience, but still stay very authentic to our brand and the idea of color, and just really looking at ways that you can get inspiration from anywhere to really drive that color leadership for our brand.
That's interesting, and I like the application outside of your core business, right? Like, because people they pick a color because they like it and they want to potentially flaunt it. So,
yeah, exactly, exactly, and that's the thing. It's very color can be that's why when we're picking our color of the year, it's not just about home decor, because to your point, the way people are getting inspired today, there's so many ways people can get inspired, whether they're traveling or they're on social or just real life experiences where they want to be able to take that inspiration and be able to apply it to their home and create an experience that they can continue to evoke that same feeling that they got where they initially got that inspiration. And so that's why we always look for ways that are not just within the home, but outside of the home, whether that's collaborative partnerships or different ways that we can bring color to life.
Yeah, I know within the social channels, you've had a lot of success on TikTok, and just wondered, like, how are you achieving that success? You're outpacing other brands, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. And social, as you are very familiar with, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners are very familiar with, has been a very evolving platform for brands. And with new and emerging platforms coming into the space, and then as you're just catching up to how to best deliver content and advertise on one, a new one pops up. This is the way you're going to reach this new audience. And so you have to adapt and evolve, and really, because there's so much content out there and so many ways for people to engage with your brand, the way we did it was really just to focus on where we felt like the prioritization was for our brand to be able to get out there and provide the inspiration that we wanted to provide and really motivate people to take on more DIY painting projects. And so we really honed in on partnering with platforms like TikTok to be able to create something new for the platform that hasn't been done before. And so 3 years ago, we launched what we called To DIY For, which is a home improvement series that's exclusive on the TikTok platform that we really partnered with them in order to launch. And what it does is it's a way for us to showcase a series of content that people can watch where they are able to learn different how-to projects on how to use products from our brand to really help them transform their space. And through that, we've been able to significantly grow our following and really grow our engagement across the platform. And it's been very successful that we actually just wrapped our third season of it. And so those are the types of initiatives and campaigns and kind of focus areas that we've been able to do in order to really be successful across social and specifically on some of those platforms like TikTok.
Yeah, congrats on the third season.
Thank you.
Great. How you mentioned Home Depot a couple of times, and you have a strong partnership there. How does that partnership between Bear and the Home Depot help elevate your marketing?
Yeah, definitely. We have an incredible partnership with the Home Depot, really across all facets of our business. And as I mentioned, it's been a partnership that has really been since the inception of Home Depot 45 years ago. And so within that, specifically from a marketing perspective, we really look at their team as an extension of our team. And so we really try to strategize and make sure that we have collective marketing efforts that are really going to engage our DIY and professional audience the way that we feel like is going to truly make an impact and help grow our businesses. And so I would say that has been, a lot of times, I think from a manufacturing perspective, you don't necessarily always have that relationship with the retailer, but the one that we have with Home Depot is special. And I think that comes through with a lot of our collective marketing efforts. They're a huge part of our Color of the Year initiative. We partner closely, as I mentioned, with their decor and design team in order to select the color of the year and then also bring it to life and be able to sustain that, not only through the efforts that we're doing from a marketing perspective, but even leveraging their platforms like across their Orange Apron Media Network, being able to leverage that platform as a way to bring color to life in a big way as well, and to tap into some of those strategic audiences that we talked about.
You've got a huge platform here, both a great partnership with Home Depot, but also the Color of the Year as an annual event, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. Something that you have to look forward to for the next one.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of extensions, and really interested in the stuff that you're doing on TikTok as well with the DIY series, I should say.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things I love to do is to get to know you a little bit better as well.
Yeah.
And so I've got a series of questions I ask everyone that comes on the show. My favorite one to ask is, has there been an experience of your past that defines or makes up who you are today?
Yeah, that's a great question and a way to really reflect. And I think there's a lot of experiences that have happened to define who I am today. But I would say to just go back to the very beginning and talking about the kids, I think having my first child would probably be the one thing that really defines who I am today and has really transformed me in a big way. And I would say a way for the better as well. And I think prior to having kids, I think if you asked me this question, it would be my work really defined me. And I think after having kids, it's not that my work doesn't define me as well, but I think you add on the layer of being a dad and being a husband and being able to have all of these other things that really fill you up and really define you in a way that you didn't even know that you could experience. And so I think that has been probably the biggest thing to make sure that I'm staying passionate and excited about the job that I'm doing while being the best dad I can be, while being the best husband I can be, and making sure that you're getting that balance within your life the way that makes it right for you. And I think that's different for everyone.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. What advice would you give yourself if you're starting this journey all over again?
Oh man, so much. So I think it's a hard one to ask because obviously I think that I've obviously made some good decisions to get to where I'm at. Yeah. And so I think my younger self, if I could say one thing, would be to just not overthink too much and to go with your gut and take some risks. But to counteract that too, I think sometimes when you do overthink and you don't take those risks, you also learn from that. And then it motivates you to do something different the next time. But I think that's what I would say is learn from the risks that you don't take, and then try to take some risks and go with your gut when you're feeling really confident about it.
Is there a topic either you're trying to learn more about or you think marketers need to be learning more about right now?
I think for me, something that I've continued to really look into is how we can leverage the data that's available to us to show the ROI of our marketing efforts. I think that's what a lot of people within my role and really within any role in marketing is trying to do. Because I think at one point we didn't have access to the data, and we didn't have all the data that we have today. And I think now it's gone to the complete opposite side where we have all of the data, and now you're trying to track through which one is really going to make that impact, right? And which one is something that you can take and optimize from, or take it and prove that, hey, it's doing the thing that I wanted it to do. And so I think it's trying to find that, whether that's a dashboard or specific KPIs that you're looking at in order to really show the success of your marketing initiatives. And no matter where brand or marketing budget you have, you want to make sure that it's driving the impact that you want it to do, and you want to be able to articulate that to those that are outside of marketing. And so I think that's something that every marketer is looking to do and wishes they had the exact answer that would apply to everyone. But I think the case is that there's not that one answer, and you really have to just do your due diligence and figure out how you can best prove out the impact of your marketing efforts and how it's successful in driving your brand forward.
So I got two more questions for you. Are there any trends or subcultures that you follow or you think other people should take notice of?
I think trends that are happening right now, obviously there's so much with artificial intelligence and what that means for brands and where that's going to go. And I think that is something that, whether you're in marketing or really within any organization, you have to understand the impact that's going to have, not only from your internal operations perspective and how to make sure you're leveraging it to be efficient and effective, but then also from a consumer experience standpoint, and how is it going to change the landscape of your consumer experience, and how is it going to make sure that you're leveraging in order to add value to that journey that you want your consumer to take with your brand. So I think just really making sure that you're staying ahead of the trends that are happening in that space while understanding the risks that come with it as well, because there's a lot there that people don't know. And I think that's the beauty of it as well, is in order to stay ahead of it, you have to really learn a lot about it and make sure that you're staying ahead of it as much as possible in order to plan accordingly to make however you leverage it be successful.
Yeah. To think about it as you have to have one eye on the horizon while you focus on what's applicable today.
Exactly. And it's changing so fast. So, a lot of things are. And I think that's another thing, is not even just from an AI perspective, but as you think about, as I mentioned, like the social platforms and new social platforms coming out, or new ways of how people like to engage with content, all of that is evolving. But I think that's what makes marketing so incredible, is that you never get bored. You're always staying challenged, and it creates a new dynamic that you get really excited about, and you find a new challenge that you're able to solve for.
Yeah. I like to think that it'd be hard to be a good marketer if you're not a good learner. Or at least passionate about learning.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Yeah. Staying curious all the time.
Yeah. Last question. What do you think is the largest opportunity or threat facing marketers today?
Yeah, I think the biggest opportunity, and I guess the biggest threat at the same time, is this idea of authenticity. And I think as things change as fast as they do, and as we were just talking about, whether that's artificial intelligence, you're learning new things, you have to stay true to your brand, and you have to stay authentic to your brand. And that's really the power, I believe, of a lot of the successful brands that you see in the market today, is they stay true to themselves. And even though they're adapting to some of these changes and evolutions that are happening in the media and social landscape, they stay true to their core. And so I think that could be the biggest opportunity for brands. And I also think it could be the biggest threat if they don't keep a pulse on it.
Andy, it's been a great conversation. I love getting to talk much more about color in general and how you guys are making use of it. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alan. I really appreciate it.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Deloitte. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only and does not imply endorsement or opposition to any specific company, product, or service. Hi, it's Alan again. Marketing Beyond is a Deloitte digital podcast. It's created and produced by me with post-production support from Sam Robertson. If you're new to Marketing Beyond, please feel free to write us a review and subscribe on your favorite listening platform. I also invite you to explore the other Deloitte Digital podcasts at deloittedigital.com/US/podcast and share the show with your friends and colleagues. I love hearing from listeners. You can contact me at marketingbeyond@deloitte.com. You'll also find complete show notes and links to what's discussed in the podcast today, and you can search our archives. I'm Alan Hart, and this is Marketing Beyond.
Frustrated with the way you currently file your taxes? What if you could track your tax expert's progress and get your best tax outcome? Switch to TurboTax Full Service. You'll be matched with a TurboTax expert who will do your taxes from start to finish as soon as today. With TurboTax, it's easy. You get real-time updates on your expert's progress, and they'll only sign when they know it's 100% correct to ensure you get your best outcome guaranteed. Switch to TurboTax Full Service. Brand power helping you buy better.
A proven system. You follow a proven system. This is also like the law of the map. Like it's been said that the time to have the map is before you enter the woods, right? Like, because once you get into things, and so often our activity in trying to grow a business or trying to grow and become a YouTube entrepreneur is kind of random. And if I could go back and coach myself in October of 2015, I would actually tell myself to do exactly what I did without the distractions and the random videos I posted, and to actually not do a blog and not even actually really share the stuff on social media and not actually worry about building a website and not get too into worrying about my brand or how I appeared or who I was in a photo with from an event or any of that stuff. I would have went back and told myself, Sean, you already created the system, work it. And our system, it's work, it's proven. It's not just for us, it's proven for our community. It's the 7R VRA framework. What do? You reverse engineer, you get good video ideas. You then research before you press record. You figure out, okay, how am I positioning it? What are kind of the keywords I'm going after? One keyword, one video, one big idea. You then record the video, and by this time, you've come up with the bomb title, you've come up with the bomb thumbnail, you've really dialed in what you're gonna say in the video. Then you release it the right way. You make sure that you title the video, you do the description, you add the chapters, you do your time codes, add the tags, the spots there, launch the video well. And then eventually you rocket the video. As your channel grows, you could share it on things like the community tab. Rocket could include sharing it on social media, but to me, Rocket actually is internal YouTube features. You do a YouTube story and you could share one video every 7 days internally. You can reactivate old videos in your library, community tab, YouTube stories, which are, a whole nother thing. Maybe, and so these different activities you could do to rocket it. Maybe you go to Reddit because there's a passionate community there and you address something. And the only way you would know that is because you're so deep in that Reddit community that you are making topics they care about and breaking down videos that are viral or valuable and could go viral on Reddit. Then you rocket the video, you put some action into it, then you review it. You look at the analytics and you say, what can I learn and how can I do it better next time? And then you repeat the process and you get 1% better. At an advanced level, you could start doing content marathons. We don't even have time to go into that, but I think about, I could have done content marathons from October on my own videos by the time I was in December. And in VRA, you probably know what we're talking about, but here's the thing. Find a system and work the system. Now, of course, I'm biased, but I want to encourage you, like if it's not VRA, it's got to be some kind of system. Your activity in building a real business is not random. Like your activity needs to be strategic. And this is why I also want to challenge you that VRA fan, remember I asked you, if you've been getting value out of Growth Video Live, I need you to recommit to the system. to recommit to the simplicity of following the steps, to finish your coursework 100%, to make Tony's tip of the week a priority, to watch the VRA show. Why? Because when you immerse yourself in the system, here's what's going to happen after Growth Video Live. Hopefully you're feeling inspired, but inevitably you're going to get punched in the face next week when you get back to real life. That's okay. That's why we have structured a community to help you win. That's why I need you to commit to listening to the Think Media podcast every Tuesday. Because I'm so serious about your success, I know that if you work the system, and that if you get clear, and that if you put in the work, and that if you then stay connected to a community that's going to keep that fire lit, that's why we've created it, that you're going to hit your targets on YouTube. And if you haven't joined Video Ranking Academy yet, get into Video Ranking Academy. The system is there for you. The coursework is there for you. It is the absolute next best step if you're not in it yet. Recommit or join, but work the system. And so when you look, and now let's land the plane on the power of Video Ranking Academy, even during those months, even during October when I'm freaking out, I sit down and I go, okay, I need to come up with a really good topic. I need to come up with a really strategic video. And one of the videos I did is, what is Amazon Prime and is it worth it? Now, maybe you would never think, and honestly, this was on a channel that didn't have a lot of branding or strategy around it, but I was testing different ideas, answering specific questions. And so I came up with that video, my friends.
I was seeing comments like it would be so much easier if there was an app that I could just stream into my TV.
The mobile app is the whole point of having this. It's supposed to be on the go. It's supposed to be able to download the videos to your phone.
The app pays for itself, essentially.
I thought these people that have been, with me really deserve an upgraded experience.
Now with Uscreen, I'm wanting to use the app more because of how good it looks and how easy it flows. Notifications happening on all the time because women are providing feedback, asking questions, engaging on the community. It's exciting every time I get to open up my app.
When we launched Edits Plus or Uscreen, right away, it exceeded my expectations.
Shamelessly seasoned in every groove and twist. Dot's sensationally seasoned pretzels.
Questions. And so I came up with that video, my friends. 5 years later, this video keeps getting watched and it keeps getting views. Over the last couple years, it has gotten 639,000 views and it has generated $2,578. Okay, well that's awesome. But what's really interesting about this video? What's really interesting about this video is the fact that you earn $3 for every visitor that starts a 30-day free trial of Amazon Prime. My friends, I wasn't accidentally coming up with videos like this and accidentally stumbling into thumbnails like this. I was working a system. I was starting with the end in mind. I was reverse engineering. Get it? I was coming up with big ideas. I was thinking through things. I was really strategizing. So I asked myself the question, what videos from my YouTube library are still producing results today? What videos following this 7R VRA framework, and it's only gotten tweaked and it's only gotten better, but it's the exact framework that I have been working for the last 10 years. I started to see that this was like what it was, and it's just got more refined. I mean, it didn't have like the cool graphic and but I was like working this idea of search-based content, the power of YouTube. Now watch. May 13, 2015, this video was posted. But the stats you're seeing on the screen are what this video has generated in the last year. And I have a video coming up too, that just so we have audio ready. So in the last year, this video has earned $50 more in the last 365 days. It's generated 70 new subscribers for Think Media, and it's generated 13,000 views. It's 6 years old, and this is what it's done in the last year. On May 14th, it was a good couple of 2 days. This video has generated $173 in the last year, 68 new subscribers. So let me ask you a question. What happens to your YouTube channel over time if you're putting videos out like this? Notice I'm not showing you, it doesn't need to be every video, but what happens if you commit to consistency and you have videos catch the vision 6 years from now, getting you views today. I also want you to catch the vision because I know the questions come up like, I want you to go deeper into entertainment channels. And hear me, VRA works for entertainment channels. You still need to reverse engineer. You still need to research topics, trends, dances. You still need to record great videos, title them well. You could still promote them out, try to get them covered by blogs. The 7R system works for YouTube, period. But not a lot of entertainment videos get views 6 years from now. So my argument is if you want to build a real business that generates passive income and that gives you a business that can scale, you might want to consider positioning yourself in some type of niche that you can create content today that'll be relevant 3 years from now, 6 years from now, 8 years from now. Because I got 68 new subscribers on a video that I posted by myself now that we're in this era. So I can say, I've never been accused of this, but if Omar was like, Sean, why aren't you working? I'm like, bro, well, number one, I work harder than you. But number two, I am working, dude. Sean Asus 27-inch monitor just got the channel, 27 subscribers. For real. Every video that you post is like a little baby you multiplying your influence years later when you work the system. But this is the one that really shocked me because in preparation for Growth Video Live, this video comes up. October 5th, 2010. And this video, in the last year, grew the channel by 6 subscribers. $25 to the Think Media bottom line. Come on. 6,000 views, but this video is 10 years old. And what I want to encourage you with is Omar called me out, man, and he was saying like, look, these videos haven't always been good. Like, work the system where you are today. Like, put in the work where you are today. Put out the best possible title and thumbnail and video you are where you can today. When you hear all the content we're delivering here at Growth Video Live, it can lead to analysis paralysis. It can lead to overwhelm. Oh, it's not as good as I want it to be. No, ship the video. Put the video out there. I said SHIP the video in case you wondered what I said. Put the video, ship the video in the mail. Get it out there and make another one and make another one and make another one. Because when you post these videos, I mean, this is that video. Let me play it for you here. Let's just check this out.
What is up? This is Sean with Think Media TV and Think International. We've been getting a lot of questions whenever we go anywhere. We get a ton of attention because of our Think video setup, because of our Think setup, because of our Think setup, the camera set, our video camera setup. I just wanted to give you a quick...
Okay. Do you see anything wrong with the shot? Like, have you learned anything from Omar? Like, again, I obviously have had a problem over the years with the backlight window situation. So I could not be lit worse. If you watch the rest of the video, it's like I'm filming it. It's super shaky. I have a desk light on. Like, okay, so lighting, not good. Even placement of myself by the window, not good. Like, but here's what's crazy, is this video still grew the channel by 6 subscribers. My friends, if you put out videos like this, and there's still some powerful things to it, the topic is good. A small group of people are still researching these very specific products and looking for videos and want to see somebody show the video off, show the products off. And so even though my first videos were truly my worst videos, I was committed to the process and I was committed to working the system. So your goal, and this is what ends up happening on YouTube, is eventually every YouTube video is like a clone army for you that you put in the work. And remember, like Omar said, he's like, when you really think about it and you start with the end in mind, yes, it takes time. Like, shoot, I got to structure the video. Man, I got to make a thumbnail and I got to write the chapters. I got to do the things. But when you put out that quality YouTube video to the best of your ability, that's like one robot in your, even when it seems like it's not working, it's working. You got that robot working when you're sleeping because of the YouTube algorithm and you building up a mountain of views, a momentum of views. And so here's a power question. Do you have a focused plan or are you taking random action? And I want you to say either make a plan, get a plan, or we've given you a plan. It's the 7R VRA framework. And there's a lot of depth, obviously, in your course that you may not have unpacked yet. Plus, we're unleashing a whole master's dimension of it that comes after VRA Foundations this fourth quarter. That doesn't cost you extra money. We're just adding more to the course. So we're continuing to work the system to unpack new insights for you, but that's not what you need at this moment. What you're getting at Growth Video Live, you got to take action on the information you have now. You got to hit record. You got to take action on what you have now. And so taking the leap to full time, preparation and practice, number 1. Build momentum, number 2. The law of sacrifice, number 3. A business mindset, number 4. And follow a proven.
Every bottle of McCormick is flavor sealed. For fresh flavor, everyone notices. You're worth it.
It's a 4-word feminist manifesto. Because I'm worth it. I wrote that.
And follow a proven system. I want you to work these. These are some lessons I've learned. Let me know what the aha moment was for you in the comment section in terms of any insights. And which one of these do you need to maybe focus on most? Which one of these do you need to focus on next? Follow a proven system. Man, this is so challenging because I feel like this whole series on this journey to full-time freedom with YouTube, how do you quit your 9 to 5? Sometimes we can wrestle with this if you have the artistic soul. And that's actually my background. I mean, I was a DJ. I love art. My dad is an artist. He's a woodworker. And so sometimes you can feel a tension like, well, YouTube is just my place for creative expression. It's a place for art. I want to make the video I feel like making today, and who knows what I'll want to create tomorrow. And when we start hearing system, it feels like it might be constricting. It might be limiting. But I think, last episode we talked about a business mindset. Again, if we sat across from like an investor, hey investor, will you give me money for this YouTube career? And here's how it's going to be profitable. Here's how it's going to be viable 2 years from now. One of the things that investor might ask you would be like, what's the system? Another way to put it, it'd be like, if you've ever saw the founder, Ray Kroc, McDonald's, it wasn't like, what kind of burgers do we want to make today? Should we try some experiment with the recipe tomorrow? It was like, here's the plan. The beef comes from here. It goes to the place. It goes onto the, onto the, kitchen stove. It goes onto the broiler. The fries go into the deep fryer. That goes into the assembly line. It gets wrapped up. It's a system, and that's not to like take all the emotion and the love out of YouTube content creation, but as YouTube entrepreneurs, of course, that's what's key. Of course, you got to layer storytelling. You've got to layer your personality. You've got to layer all that flavor and that flair on top. But when you layer it on top of the system, there could be a lot of power there. And this 7R Video Ranking Academy system has now, it's not a theory anymore. It's proved results for countless students. We have thousands of success students and many who their nuances of their stories, they're earning 10K a month, 15K a month, Dr. Eye Health over 20K a month. They're doing laptop reviews. They're doing eye doctor stuff. They're doing plants in Lucia, Mary. One of our students just turned 70, and she was sharing with me, she was like, she's doing great. She's got a whole business angle to what she's doing. So people of all generations, all backgrounds are using, the key is a system. They're following a proven system. And I do want to encourage people, like, again, if someone's listening to this, you're listening to the Think Media podcast, you haven't joined Video Ranking Academy, you got to join. But if you go, I don't know, well, then join something or figure out a system, because if you're just taking random action, you're going to get random results. And that is not how you go full time. That's like, I might not. Who knows? I'm going to do whatever I feel like each day. What's nice about this is it really brings structure to your path to full-time freedom.
Yeah, and I mean, I love structure, Sean. So I'm like, oh, proven system, giddy up. I love that. But I also do see that there is so much, Gary Vaynerchuk, he says that, everything on social is art and science. And the proven system part of this is the science and psychology of someone coming to YouTube and why they are even there. And until you actually dive into that and you understand why is someone there, what are they looking for, how can you help them, when you follow this 7-step process, you actually get to see how that big piece can then be pulled out. Layers of the onion get unraveled because you're following a system for it, and it isn't just random, but it is the art and the science with it. But when it comes down to how do you actually do this, right? Like, we don't normally have people that come to us and are like, is this like I make a couple of videos and get like super rich? No, this is not what that is. This is a system. And just like if you were training for a triathlon and you have to run the miles and ride the bike and do the swimming, it's the same thing. You've got to run the miles, do the bike, swim the laps in the pool. This system will help you to also have the art built into it. And we've seen that with Benazati, who's doing Keto Camp. He just did another video. He's made this video like 3 times now. The 5 best keto snacks. He's like, do I make it again? I'm like, yes. Why? Because it's the new fresh art that you're putting into the system that people actually want. And what I'm just so grateful for is that not only is this just it's not even a regular system, not only is this a designed system, it has the word proven in front of it for a reason.
Yep.
And if you're going to pick a system, get one that's proven, get one that's actually working for different niches, get one that's actually been tested and studied. And what I love that we do here at Think Media is we are player coaches. We are doing this right now with 7 videos a week on our channel. This exact system. It's not like we like got to this high place and we're like, oh no longer doing the system. No, we are teaching our team the system. We're teaching the people in our community the system because the system is proven and it works.
100%. And it really reminds me of, again, this is all coming out of my story. I lose all my freelance clients in October. And now it's November and December. And I'm like, okay, in the next 2 months, I recovered all that income. Not because one of the assets I had during that time was confidence. Because I had the system. I wasn't like, shoot, I hope I can come up with a good idea today. I wasn't leaning on just randomness. I was just leaning on, let me go back to it. Let me go back to the 7 R's. Okay, reverse engineer. What's the purpose of this video? How's this video going to make money? What's the purpose of my channel? Just read. We sometimes need that because I don't know about you. You know, we can wake up a lot of mornings. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm groggy. What day is it? I need coffee. What's going on? And sometimes we don't know what to do. We don't know where to direct our energy. I think what's powerful about having a system when it comes to, again, this is assuming your target is to go full time as soon as possible, is the system takes emotion out of things.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to run your business off emotion. That's a really bad way to run a business because some days you're up, some days you're down, some days you're feeling it, some days you're not. And the cool thing about the system is the system itself also does not have emotion. You know, sometimes I know different personalities, this can be a hard, we think about this when running a team. Like what I love, if you ever have a team member, you ever hire somebody, or when you hire somebody as a YouTube entrepreneur, sometimes what can be ambiguous is if you're meeting with a team member and you were to say, hey, you're not like really cutting performance. They go, well, I feel like I'm cutting performance. Well, I feel like you're not cutting. And like, what do you mean by that? One of the things that we like to do is we like to have the smallest box possible. And it could be something like, hey, we need you to edit 2 videos a week. And so then the question is, did you put a 2 in the box? Yeah, well, but I felt like, well, no, is there a 2 in the box or not? Oh, yeah, but the thing is, what was kind of, no. I'm just asking you, is there a number in the box? So when you think about the system, the key here being I didn't do 52 random videos over 2 months. I actually did 52 videos and I kept following the 7 R's. I'd reverse engineer them, coming up with the title, coming up with the thumbnail. And so I would ask everyone listening to the Think Media podcast, okay, how many videos are you going to post a week? Sean, you and Heather say this all the time. Yeah. Are you doing it? But then also, are you actually following a system when you post the video? Because you post a video every Tuesday, but if it's random, not effective, not researched, not intentional, not strategic, it's kind of a waste of time. Or at least it's just a crapshoot. It's like, I'm pulling the magical YouTube wand. The power of the system is there's not emotion there. It's like, of course, There's the art side, there's the creative side, and you have to layer that on top. But you're like, listen, I'm just going to get up. All right, let me reverse engineer. Okay, let me research before I press record. All right, let me record. All right, let me do the steps, and then let me do it again. And it's not just my example now, but my examples. 2 months later, I bring in $4,700 on affiliates, $700 over 3 months, so that's about $200 a month. That's $5K a month. That is exactly what I happen to lose from freelance clients. And now we're seeing people in the Video Ranking Academy. Someone today we just celebrated on a team meeting. She's a doctor.
Yep.
She just got her silver play button.
Yep.
Crazy. And so, but it all comes back to working a proven system. Does it take time to build momentum? Yeah, that was the second law. Do you need your season of preparation in your craft and your expertise? Sure. Do you have to sacrifice? Absolutely. Do you need a business mindset? Yep. But what's the system? It works if you work it.
A patient takes the proper preventive measures. We can keep our enamel for a lifetime. If patients use Pronamel Clinical Enamel Strength, it will actually help to protect the enamel for a lifetime. So I would recommend Pronamel Clinical Enamel Strength to all patients.
Excited about is seeing all of the people who are just getting started now. So people might say, well, is it too late to get started on YouTube? All these other people are getting success on YouTube. This system works, and it works for right now in what we're doing. And I think it's just awesome to see that, throughout this whole series, so many examples of people who are winning on YouTube. And to be able to go full time, to be able to know that at any level that you are trying to get to, that you've got support, that you've got a team, that you've got people behind you with something like this, and really pumped to hear the stories of the next gen of content creators.
Well, I love that you said that too, because I know towards the end of that talk, I said, work the system where you are today.
Yeah.
Because that could also feel scary. Like, well, I'm just, the R's are intimidating.
Yes.
Like, the system's kind of intimidating. My videos aren't that good yet. No, remember, that's why the last video, and if you're on the podcast, you didn't really get to see it. I played my video from 11 years ago, and it's totally backlit. It looks absolutely terrible. Like, the hook is not strategic. Like, it's a shaky camera, but yet that video still actually grew the channel, Think Media, by 6 subscribers over the last 365 days. It earned $25 over the last, that's like putting a good investment in like a mutual fund or something. It's still paying you 11 years later. That's the power of the Video Ranking Academy system, but the goal is to just start with it.
Yeah.
We continue to go to new depths. The 7 R's is like this loop. You just keep doing them, and you keep getting better at them. I don't think they're exhaustive. You could always get better at reverse engineering. You can always get better at recording. You could always get better at camera. So don't be overly judgmental of yourself today, right? Get 1% better with every upload. Your first videos are going to be your worst videos. You have to punch perfectionism in the face and fear in the face and just start. You will probably cringe at your first videos.
Yes.
You might cringe at your videos from a year ago, even if you've been doing this for 5 years. But when you just keep working the system, again, you go, okay, I'm committed to it. I get it. And that's a good place to end this 5-part series. This has been fun. I'd love to hear, if you're listening to this on the podcast and you haven't reviewed it on Apple, maybe you got a lot out of this full-time series, like how to go full-time on YouTube, or maybe you're just joining. We'd love for you to review the podcast. Maybe have you listened to all 5 parts of this? If you watch the Think Media podcast on YouTube, let us know in the comments. Have you been getting value out of this? YouTube is a marathon and not a sprint. And so, can we capture vision at the end of this series? What if you start working the system today? Just like I posted a video 11 years ago, and I definitely wasn't doing it perfect. I was doing it at like a 1 percentile level. Like if Think Media is at like full speed today, I had flat tires.
Yeah.
The car was barely running. I barely, had to, prime it to get that thing going. It was barely moving, but I just got started. I started before I was ready, and then I committed to it. Where will you be 2 years from now, Think Media? 4 years from now, Think Media? Where will you be 10 years from now? And think about how proud you will feel holding that silver play button. Think about how confident you will feel in reoccurring revenue and passive income that's coming because of the work that you did yesterday. I think that's the power of having a map, the law of the map. Man, before you enter the woods, get a map. And if you want our help, that's what we're here for, because we have refined this system and we continue to. What I love about the Video Ranking Academy 7R system's unbreakable. We continue to focus on that, but we keep building it out. Every week, Tony's talking about quick tips. We're going to another level. Every month, we talk to another VRA success student in the VRA show that is sharing their story of even how they're using it. We steal their points.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when ham radio comes on and Tony just taught the ABCs, you know, and I was like, this insight, like, because what we found is that the system itself is so powerful that you start putting it, you get to have your art and it's not going to remove your personality.
Right.
It amplifies your personality. It's not going to constrict your creativity. When creativity works best in constraints, when you funnel your creativity through the 7 R's, it'll help you go further, faster. So we hope this series has served you. So grateful. If you happen to just be discovering the Think Media podcast right now, go back into the library and you'll see all 5 parts that we've gone through on this journey of transitioning out of your 9-to-5, making this your full-time career. We're on a mission to help 10,000 purpose-driven people create a full-time living, doing what they love while making a difference in the world with YouTube. And these are the steps, friends. So dive into these past episodes and join us in the Video Ranking Academy.
New Halo Top with mix-ins in every bite and half the calories.
It ain't a pastime. It ain't a hobby. It's love. Love your craft.
And so dive into these past episodes and join us in the Video Ranking Academy.
Well, I hope that conversation left you with something to think about. And if you want to join us inside of Video Ranking Academy, I'll make sure to link down in the show notes as well as in the YouTube description the best way to get our best offer right now if you want to become a part of that community. And I hope you've enjoyed this entire series. If you're listening over on YouTube, let me know what has been your favorite topic so far. We love that we've been able to have longer, deeper conversations around these topics that are actually leading to YouTube success, and I can't wait for another series like this in the future. So my question for you is, what is your next step? Do you need to become a part of the Video Ranking Academy? Do you want to be surrounded by community and other successful entrepreneurs who are actually connecting the dots on this journey? Maybe your next step is that you need to figure out the law of sacrifice and what needs to happen in your life, what changes need to happen. Or maybe you're in the law of momentum where you're just trying to make some breakthrough. And I want to encourage you to stick at it, because one video will lead to 2 videos, will lead to 3 videos. And over time, you'll look back at the end of the year and have 52 videos that you can see are making progress. All of this is part of the success on YouTube. And I'm so grateful that we got to have this conversation together. Now, if you are over on iTunes, I want to encourage you to hit the rate button and then leave a review, because that helps get the word out to other people who are wanting to figure out how to grow their influence on YouTube as well. Now, this review, I'm not going to say the name. It's going to show up on the screen. ALITLC says, seriously, YouTube, after listening to other people's YouTube information, I found myself eliminating their shows and coming exclusively here. I discovered the Video Ranking Academy here and the challenges, and finally understand how to build my YouTube channel. It's really nice to understand what I'm doing instead of just creating and wondering why some videos succeed and others don't. I highly recommend subscribing. Thank you so much for leaving that information. And I love that you're exclusively here, that you're part of the Video Ranking Academy, and you're taking our free challenges. It is so amazing that the Think community is rallying around this movement of being content creators who are making a difference in the world. I want to thank you so much for being a part of this community, for being locked and loaded for this entire series, and for leaving the comments and the reviews and sharing on social media. It is amazing to see all of you digitally, and I can't wait to see you in real person, in real life at Grow with Video Live, happening May 2022. You can get your tickets now at growwithvideolive.com, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.
Are you ready to start or grow your YouTube channel? Do you feel stuck and need help connecting the dots? Join this free web class where you'll learn the step-by-step playbook for YouTube success. We've helped thousands of purpose-driven entrepreneurs just like you grow their influence with video. Register today for this exclusive training at thinkmasterclass.com.
'Fix up! We're trapped by dishes! Don't worry, they've got new Dawn Power Suds. It traps, locks, and removes 99% of grease, so it doesn't get passed from dish to dish. Cleaned and stacked. Like ducks in a row. New Dawn Power Suds.
Things we wish we knew when we started YouTube. We have two special guests. I want you to capture all 10 points, but there's going to be a whole bunch of juicy nuggets in today's session. And one of the things I've learned is that the best possible investment we can ever make is in learning from somebody else who's been there and done that. And mainly because not just from their successes, but even more so from their mistakes. Like, investing in learning is the thing that helps us go faster, because we're like, oh, wow, that just saved me 6 months. That just saved me 2 years. You know, that just gave me that head start. So I'm so excited for today. Our first guest is Homemaking with Denise. She's got an incredible channel, 68,000 subscribers. And I want to welcome her on here to tell us, Denise, tell us, well, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time and welcome to the challenge. But tell us, when did you start your YouTube channel? What's the vision? And yeah, what is your, what are you up to on YouTube?
You know, I started my YouTube channel several years ago, and when I started it, I just started it to have fun, and I was just going to talk about makeup and a bunch of things like that. And then I got into just kind of exploring a lot of different things and realized that oh no.
This is your first video. I'm pulling up your first one, so. My
first video. But what I realized was that I didn't want to talk about makeup all the time. And when I just kind of explored a bunch of different things, I realized what stuck was homemaking, cleaning and cooking, and teaching younger homemakers about all the things that I've learned over a lifetime. And so now that's what I'm about. You know, I am like the YouTube auntie on YouTube, and I teach about how to create routines to clean your home, how to cook, how to clean, just how to create and make a home for today's homemakers.
Denise, I'm so grateful for you, and you're so inspiring with everything you do on YouTube. And I can't wait to talk about your tips for how you've monetized in multiple different ways and the lessons you've learned along the way. But our second guest today is Marco, and his channel is called Just Dream Italy. Marco, welcome to the challenge.
Hey, Sean, glad to be here.
Man, so good to finally actually meet you in person on video. I know we've talked a little bit in email, and so inspired by your journey in terms of joining VRA, learning for a while, and then just executing. And I think one of the fastest growing channels, you hit 1,000 subscribers in 9 days. You got monetized in 15 days. But just take us back. Tell us kind of the big vision of why you wanted to start YouTube and what you do on your channel.
Right. So I started YouTube basically on a whim out of an inspiration. So I love Italy, and I love real estate. I love traveling, and I love food. And so I wanted to kind of combine all of these different passions into one channel. And so from what I had seen on the internet, there was really, on YouTube specifically, there was really nothing which was as similar, to that idea. And so I'm like, something done with quality, kind of putting all of these things into one package, I think would be really compelling content.
Man, I love it. And I'm excited to learn more about your lessons and so many powerful tips that we're going to learn today, challenge. And so shout out our guests in the comments. And let's start with tip number 1. You don't have to be perfect to start. Let's start with Marco. And ahead of time, they shared a little bit of tips. And this is one of the things you said. You said you don't have to be perfect to start. Break that down for those who may be a little bit hesitant on the overwhelm that can come with punching fear in the face and pressing record.
Right. So perfection will paralyze you. Absolutely. And it did for me. I had my idea for my channel about a year before I actually published the first video. And I was held back by that quest for perfection. And so, I do kind of regret that I didn't start earlier because of that. At the same time, quality is very important, but you learn how things work by doing it just as much as by investing in the preparation for doing it, and maybe even more. And so by doing 100%, you will get closer to that idea of perfection, although perfection never exists.
Yeah, so true. And Denise, I'm curious for you, think it back to when you started and this whole idea of, we always say start before you're ready. What would you say as far as your journey and maybe those that are, wrestling with all those emotions and thoughts and maybe fear of getting on camera or what will people think?
I think you just have to, as you said, just punch fear in the face and just do it, because the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. And I never met a camera that I didn't like. So it wasn't hard for me to jump on camera, but I have talked to lots of people who do have a struggle with trying to figure out what to do on camera and how to be on camera. And one thing I did was sometimes I would just practice, just get on the camera and just talk when it's just you and maybe a picture on the wall. So you don't have to be perfect to start, but you do have to start to get perfect.
Pampers Swaddlers keeps your baby 3 times drier all night long.
The Nissan Armada, starting at just $57,520.
Dropping bars already, which brings us to tip number 2, which is get clear on your channel topic and strategy. And Marco, you shared a cool quote extending your tip. You said you don't have to be perfect to start, but the more prepared you are, the better it will go. And I love your story of yes, you started and grew fast, but you also, it wasn't like day one, you really started a year ahead of time in some sense because of preparing and planning and learning. So talk a little bit about that idea of the more prepared you are, the better it will go.
Right. So based on my experience solely, and I know that's different for everybody, I was very prepared when I started my channel. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I had zoned in really on the style that I wanted on my video. Based on other YouTubers that I admire. And so I really knew what I wanted to produce when I started with the channel. And so I think that's why the channel did take off, because I was prepared in terms of the actual filming of the content. I was prepared in knowing how to edit that content. And I knew who the channel was meant for. I knew what the niche was. I was really informed, of other channels who were doing similar things to a lesser quality and already getting a lot of views. And so having that clarity, I think, is what made the channel take off.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm excited to hear from Denise, because when we talk about this, everybody is really in a different place when they start. And I love this quote from the Snazzy Vegan Life. It's important not to compare because we all start from a different place. A different level of experience, a different background, different understanding of the tech and all those different deals. And I love that Marco is saying, man, I thought through it. I saw the other channels. I had a high level of clarity. But also, Denise, you mentioned, I was actually taking this from one of your tips where you said, I wish I would have niched down sooner. And so if I knew then what I know now, it sounds like maybe you would have thought about, man, if I spent a little more time getting clear on my strategy, or break that down, because you also pivoted. You were all makeup and then eventually went to homemaking. So sometimes we get overwhelmed. Like, if I don't have total clarity, should I just not start? But you started and then you pivoted along the way. Tell us a little bit about your story.
So I got started, as I said, with makeup, and then I decided I wanted to talk about other things, so I changed my channel name to This and That with Denise, so that I could talk about a little of this and a little of that. But in doing that, I was so scattered, I was all over the place. But on the other hand, I was throwing things against the wall to see what stuck. And what I realized that what stuck was the homemaking niche. And so I made a pivot to that, and just recently changed my channel name from This and That with Denise to Homemaking with Denise, because really that's pretty much what I'm about. The other thing was, I really didn't know who I was talking to when I got started. I was talking to everybody. And when you're talking to everybody, you're not talking to anybody. So when I finally figured out that I wanted to talk to that young homemaker, that young bride, that person who's trying to make and keep a home, then I was able to focus in my message and then be able to create videos that were more targeted, that were more specific, and that people wanted to watch.
Yeah, I love your story. And it speaks to, I can relate to, especially my personal channel. I played my first video, so embarrassing. But just starting and then testing. So you started with makeup, then This and That, which is kind of that idea that people think This and That is like everything, like whatever Denise wants to talk about, which, like you said, wasn't a very clear niche, but it was a place to experiment. You saw the success of the homemaking stuff. And I love to see the evolution of your brand, because I've watched your cover art change. I've watched your Homemaking with Denise. You've changed the channel name, which I hope people feel is empowering, because this is the whole idea of this tension between, well, Sean, you say start before you're ready, but you also say, like, have a clear strategy. Which is it? Well, it's really both. Like, you got to punch fear in the face and start, but then you can pivot and improve as you go. Or if you're like Marco, then maybe you have total clarity at the start. Either way, it's really a tension to be managed, which brings us to tip number 3, which is video editing helps you improve as a communicator. So Marco shared a tip, and he said, really, you're going to get better at telling a story by practicing editing. And we could talk in a second about, you know, in some cases, if you're a business owner watching this, maybe you're not going to edit your own videos and you want to delegate, and we can help you with that. But for a lot of us too, when we're starting, we're going to be doing everything. And maybe you have a passion for editing. But Marco, I am curious about this. I know editing is intimidating for some people, but what is the benefit you found now that you've been posting videos, and kind of break this down about how video editing has helped you become a better communicator and a better storyteller?
Right. So in editing video, I think it's like, let's say it's like writing a story. You know, you get better at writing by putting that pen to the paper and writing. And so authors are really good at writing stories because they're doing it every single day. I think it was Stephen King who said, you know, he would sit down from 9 a.m. until noon, and he wouldn't get up from his desk until he was finished writing, and he wouldn't stop during that time. And he says, you know, I'm not a naturally born good writer. It's like I got good doing it because I had that schedule and I was always doing it. And so I'm not comparing myself anyway to, you know, Stephen King, but the principle is really that by doing something, you're getting better. And editing is a form of communication. Making a video is a form of, you know, you're transmitting ideas, and there's a certain structure to it that you'll find by, you know, continually doing that, you know, like an opening, a hook, there's development to it, and then, you know, going to the end. And by editing more, what I found for me is that I've learned how to pace things better. I've learned how to go fast at times and then pull back and slow down, introduce music to kind of, you know, propel part of the story forward. And you really find your voice in video via editing, I feel.
Yeah, and I mean, when we look at your videos, they're really like works of art, and you could tell the intention you put into all the details, from color grading to cameras and to drone shots. I mean, it also makes me, I'm like, man, I got to get out more. Like these places are inspiring in your channel. It's clear to see the excellence and the attention to detail that you put into this. But I'm also excited, Denise, because you know, all of us, we have such different niches. Like there's room for all of us on YouTube with different styles of content, whether it's like this kind of premium level travel, beautiful shot stuff, and whether it's maybe more practical videos around the home. And so I'm curious for you, who edits your videos? Do you edit your videos? How'd you overcome the tech and I mean, even these shots you're doing here? I mean, you got these different shots. Your game has evolved. What has been your progress, Denise, or process of learning, editing, and getting comfortable with the content creation process?
Well, this is kind of funny, but I used to be a university professor. So, and one of the things we would do is we use video in our lectures, but it was new technology then. So I would go to Studio M, which was the studio where the professors and students could come to learn how to do stuff. And we used Adobe Premiere. And you know, there is a huge learning curve to Adobe Premiere. So every day I would go to learn how to do a video for class. And so when I started my YouTube journey, whatever I learned for class, I would practice on the weekend for my YouTube channel. And if I had a question, I would bring it. And I mean, I felt like students wanted to go like this when they saw me come in the door, because like, oh no, she's back. But I was determined to learn how to do these things. And one of the things that I realized, you know, we always talk about show, don't tell, but with video, you're actually able to show as you're telling what's going on. So for me, the thing about video is that it's helped me to tell a better story, but to be more succinct in the telling of that story. And I tend to be kind of chatty. So one of the things that I've learned with video also is that you got to trim it down. People just don't want to hear all of that. And so a lot of times me and Mary both laugh because we're both very chatty, but it's like we have to try to bring it in.
Man, this thing is so many powerful tips already, and really practical stuff that we can apply. And I want to encourage you, challenge, this is possible. This is learnable. Everything is figure-outable. And this brings us to tip number 4, which is make a money plan that doesn't depend on YouTube ads. We're going to start with Denise on this one. And I love this tip because, of course, one of the cool opportunities on YouTube is that YouTube will pay us for views once we get monetized. And that can actually be a significant income stream depending on the size of your channel and how many views you're getting. But the way that Denise kicked this off in our kind of pre-notes is she said she wishes she would have monetized sooner, not just with YouTube ads, AKA the YouTube Partner Program. And so Denise, what do you mean by that now that you look back and some of the things you would have done differently?
Well, when I first got started, everybody wants to get into the YouTube Partner Program. You think that's the end all to be all, the holy grail. But what you don't realize is that there are other mechanisms to gain financial resources when you're on YouTube. And I just didn't want to hear it or see the vision at first because I wasn't as confident in myself early on. But one of the things that was happening as I was creating my channel was I tend to wear aprons in most of my videos, and people started asking about that. And like, where do you get your aprons? And then I thought, well, why don't I start selling aprons? So I did create my business, Apron Diva, as a result of organically from people wanting to know where I'm getting my aprons and all that kind of thing. So it just kind of grew organically. And I think having your own product as a YouTube creator is important because it gives you a little bit of independence. But also affiliate marketing can be a nice little chunk of change if you actively work at it. So I wish earlier on, those were things that I would strategically have thought about. Early on, I didn't. Like I said, I was just starting out just to have fun, just to do this, just to do that. So then when it came to me figuring out, okay, now it's time to get serious, then I had to come up with a strategy to do that. So creating my own business was one way of doing that, but also the Amazon Influencer Program is another approach that I'm looking at right now, as well as more affiliate marketing.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running. That's why at Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
McDonald's meets the Minecraft universe with one of 6 collectibles and your choice of a Big Mac or 10-piece McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Now available with a Minecraft movie meal.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
More affiliate marketing.
Your story is so inspiring. And when did this all, I mean, I believe you told in a previous interview we've done, you were kind of maybe shifting into more of a retirement season and looking to create extra income streams. And so what was kind of that progression? I mean, you went into this thinking, is it possible to do that? And your mindset as far as what's possible for people of all ages here.
Well, I think that's the thing. Like I said, I wasn't looking for YouTube to replace my income because I was comfortable. I was in retirement. I was just having fun. I wanted a purpose while I was in retirement. And then I realized, if there is money to be made, we could take more trips. We could go visit the kids more. Maybe we could take a cruise. I want a new kitchen. So there's all kind of things that I realized that if I was strategic about it, that I could do with the various monetary streams that I might be able to get from YouTube and not just be dependent upon my retirement income.
Yeah, I mean, I love that vision. And it's really so exciting to think about the opportunity, the internet and YouTube and all these different ways of making money. And as a reminder, I know commitment is the foundation of all great accomplishments. And so on Friday, we're going really deep on the money conversation and going to be helping you build a money plan on the session number 5 of the challenge. So don't miss that one. But Marco, I'm curious for you as you went into this, how you were thinking about monetization. Was this all a hobby? Was it like, maybe if I monetize someday? Did you go in to this with a money plan, and what are kind of the lessons from your perspective?
Yeah, I didn't have a money plan. I went into it as a passion project that I thought had lots of potential. And I knew that there was a potential, of getting YouTube ad revenue, sponsorships, but also just by the nature of showing homes that people are selling, making partnerships with agencies that are selling those homes. And also by me showing myself as a person who's going out and seeing homes, the potential of having people from abroad, specifically an American audience, see me as like a consultant, like a property hunter for them as well. So I vaguely knew that at the beginning, but actually starting the videos was a passion project with the hope that, somehow this will all materialize. I had no money plan at all. That being said, it all did work out. It really, I love what Denise said at the beginning. You just think like, oh yeah, you get into the YouTube ad program and, you start making lots of money. And that's not the case. You can't rely 100% on the ads. And after like the first months of being monetized, I had lots of views and, the ads aren't enough, to pay you a salary. And so, luckily, within a few months, I was contacted by sponsors who were interested in working with my channel. And a few I had to reject because I didn't think they were good fits, but most of them have just been very appropriate for my channel and, great interests for me. And in the meantime, also, those other 2 kind of sources which I had thought of, the selling the homes, but also a kind of a consultancy for people looking for homes have materialized. And so I've sold a few homes via the videos and have gotten a part of the commission. And I've started collaborating with one of the biggest kind of buyers agencies for Italy's for people abroad who took interest in the channel as well, and have become a consultant. And so basically in the span of, when did I say? Yeah, about 12 months now, almost 1 year I'm going on. I left my corporate job because I was working a corporate job full time. And it got to the point where I was making as much income doing that. And I'm like, no. So I gave my notice, and I've just been dedicating myself to this since the beginning of this year, 2024.
Marco, this is so inspiring because I think as we talk about outside of the box, the opportunity to be a consultant, the opportunity to partner with people that are listing homes and get in on a commission and to create deals on top of kind of what some of us maybe think of maybe the traditional things like YouTube ads, brand deals. And it really speaks to why the creator economy and this content creator, starting YouTube channels really can lead to a lot of open doors that we maybe would have never expected. And congrats on all your success. It's very, very inspiring, which brings us to tip number 5, which is prepare and think about the future. Now, we've touched on this one a little bit, but to give us context, let me kick it to Denise here first. You talked about being strategic about your content, but specifically now you say plan ahead quarter by quarter. Mm-hmm. So Denise, break that down. What are some of the things you've learned about the power of being prepared and planning ahead?
Well, I can probably tell you more about the power of not being prepared and planning ahead. Because, sometimes I can be a little scattered. And what I realize when I'm scattered is that I'm throwing up videos. And granted, they're videos that are relevant either for the season, relevant for my viewer. But I haven't really strategically thought about, well, how do you connect maybe a specific product that I can promote so that I can monetize with this product for this particular video. And when I am more focused and plan for the whole quarter, I know each week what I'm talking about, then I can be more strategic about planning. Okay, so which product do I want to talk about that is relevant for this particular video? What kind of sponsorship can I look into planning ahead that's relevant for this particular season? Like right now, everybody's doing spring cleaning. What particular products and sponsorships can I get that's relevant for that season? So when you plan ahead like that, if you're ahead of the curve, then you can be more strategic about the things that you do, and then your income will show up as a result of that. And I'm not always as focused as I should be. Now, when it comes to Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'm on it. I start my Thanksgiving content in September, so by the middle of October, I'm done. When people are looking for Thanksgiving content, I want them to find me, and my revenue goes way up. But it's like after Christmas, I just kind of relax, and then I'm not as strategic, and so then it shows up at the revenue.
Yeah, and Rosalind and Rob just said genius. There's some serious bombs being planted. The power of planning, and as we learn these seasons, Snazzy Vegan Life said, planning quarters and seasons makes so much sense. And Cherise said, light bulb moment. There's been a lot of light bulb moments, man. It's so inspiring getting to talk to you both. And I do want to keep it moving on point number 6 here. I want to kick it back to Marco, which is pace yourself and play the long game. If you're ready to get serious about starting and growing a successful YouTube channel, then you're going to love vrapodcast.com. For a limited time, we have a special sale happening on our YouTube course and coaching membership that includes the online course, the 80-page workbook, and access to the private community. Inside of this program, you have everything you need for starting a successful YouTube channel all in one place. You get access to checklists and resources that will save you time, reduce stress, and help you reach your YouTube goals faster. But also, the most powerful part is the community. It's not just other creators and entrepreneurs that are ambitious and reaching for their goals, but it's also the Think Media faculty that's in your corner, answering your questions and helping you stay motivated on your journey to YouTube success. And for a limited time, we are running a big sale at vrapodcast.com. So if you want to check it out, just click the link in the show notes or go to vrapodcast.com. All right, let's get back into the episode. And so, Marco, you talked about your investment will pay off. The beginning is a grind in the dark, though. And so talk a little bit about, it's not only in a year you quit your corporate job, but also the previous year. And I know for some, we say your race, your pace here at Think Media, because I've interviewed hundreds of creators and entrepreneurs now, and some people broke through year 7 and that was full time. Some people broke through month 7 and went full time. And so it really isn't about comparison, but talk a little bit about the real grind, the grind in the grind in the dark, and having maybe a long-term mindset and pacing yourself.
Right. So at every milestone, you think you've made it. But having a successful YouTube channel isn't like making a Michelangelo sculpture where, it then sits there for eternity in its glory, right? You have to keep on going. And so as soon as you finish a video, you're not done. Like, you have to start thinking and doing the next video. And it's very important. It ends up becoming a process. It ends up becoming a job once you get to that point. And so you're never done, and you really have to pace yourself. And I think it's a really important point, because it doesn't mean you're going to have success, immediately, and then, the money starts rolling in. No, you have to make it a sustainable process. You have to make it a kind of sustainable effort for yourself as well. Otherwise, it just stops. There is YouTube burnout.
Yeah, that's such a good point, Marco. And Denise, one of the things you said was breathe more and plan breaks. And I want to hear about this because, one of the things we've learned at Think Media, we've been doing this stuff I've been doing it since 2007. Our company really kind of started to formulate this recent era, 2016. So about 8 years that Think Media was a couple people, and now like 30 people. And one of our core values is built to last. And we are being thoughtful about, okay, what is a sustainable pace? There's actually a new book that's coming out or already out called, I think it's called Slow Productivity, from Cal Newport, who wrote the book Deep Work, and just kind of talking about that we need a new set of skills in today's world to where it's one thing, of course, we got to be competitive, and certain seasons where we hustle, and certain seasons where maybe it's Thanksgiving or Christmas, and that maybe becomes the Super Bowl. If you're doing Thanksgiving is Denise's Super Bowl in a way, like that's the time to really work hard. And we're always trying to figure out those rhythms as well, because we want to be built to last. We want to be here for not just short-term success or some one viral video, but for the long haul. And that takes wisdom and that takes systems. But you said breathe more and plan breaks, Denise. And so break that down and some of the lessons you've learned having done this for a while to not burn out and make this sustainable.
Well, if you're constantly putting out videos every week, and sometimes 2 and 3 videos a week, and you're trying to be more creative, and then you've got to do all the things, especially if you're a solopreneur, you can get tired. You can get exhausted and burn out. And I'm a solopreneur. My husband will sometimes help me look at the lighting and things like that. But for the most part, I'm doing it all. And if you're doing too much, you wear out. And then you're no good to yourself or to your viewers. So you have to take some plan times, you have to take some plan times, or you just step away from the camera, just have maybe a week or 2 weeks off, and just relax and rejuvenate. And then you can come back with some fresh ideas. Because your people can tell when you're getting tired.
Being a commercial breeder is always my dream. Each year we design new varieties for ketchup making.
No matter what kind of teeth you gotta brush, Oral-B Electric cleans better with one simple touch. Oral-B's dentist-inspired round brush head hugs them, cleans them, and gets in between them for 100% cleaner teeth. Your perfect clean starts with Oral-B.
People can tell when you're getting tired.
Yes, so strong, which brings us to tip number 7. Here we are. Systems are the key to consistent success. And so, man, we love systems here at Think Media. I would say that systems save lives. And that's one of the huge keys of not just consistent success, but also avoiding burnout and having a system you could follow. The way Marco put it was, I forget, but it's on here some way. Something about about systems. Marco, break it down. You kind of talked about routine systems. Here it is. Have a coffee and go through the system you've put in place. Doubting yourself is normal. Being tired, being ready to throw in the towel is normal. But have a coffee. Cheers. But talk a little bit about that, about workflows, systems, and those, helping in this YouTube game.
Right. So systems help in that moment of desperation, right? And so it happened to me one time. I was shooting a video. That video, in the meantime, I think got 110,000 views, in which I was ready to throw in the towel. And I was just so tired. I was shot just because of the pace at which, I was shooting the videos, I was editing, I was doing everything. At that time, I was still working my corporate job. And, I was in the middle of a piazza filming a church, and I'm just like, I'm not inspired. I'm just getting so upset. This isn't going to work. Everything is terrible. The perfection is talking to me. And then, I just put everything away, went to a cafe down the street, and I got a coffee. And I at that point, I had a breather, had a coffee, and I realized, Marco, you know what shots you need to get. Even if you're not inspired, go and get those shots and worry about it in the editing room. And it worked. I got everything. And actually, after having lunch later on in the day, the inspiration hit just because I was going through the process, which for me in that case was like the shots I needed to get, the drone shots, get that, and that, get the talking shots, get the B-roll shots in this place, that place. I knew it all. I just had to go and do it.
Yes, man, I love hearing that. And it's when we're not inspired, that so stood out to me. We, rather than looking for that inspiration, look at the system, follow the checklist, get the shots. And then later on, you're like, man, it still came together. That's so powerful. And Denise, you have been a part of Video Reiki Academy for a while. And one of the things you talked about was more strategy with RSP. This is kind of a sub point for the challenge. Is yesterday we learned ASQ, answer specific questions. One of the other strategies we teach, we have about 16 of them, or we have actually 16 of them. We go really deep in things like answer specific questions, teach specific skills. RSP is review specific products. And these are kind of like plug and play. Like not everybody has to do every single one of these. Like maybe Marco isn't doing product review videos in the same way that Denise will, or tutorials. But you, for example, talked about be strategic about your content, more strategy with RSP. Talk about the power of following the VRA system and maybe other routines and microsystems you've applied to build the over 60,000 subscribers that you have on your channel.
Well, it just helps you to focus. When you follow the process, when you follow different little things like answer specific questions or review specific products, it just helps you to have a focus for your content, and it gives your people a reason to come and listen. So one of the things that I realized when I finally niched down was that my people, and my people is usually a her, but sometimes it's a him, but these homemakers are trying to make and keep a home. There's specific products they need to do that with. There's specific skill sets they need to learn. They need to be able to learn how to do certain things for laundry. So when I can come up with answering a question for how to do this or that, or a product that will help them to ease their pain point when they're trying to sort something out, it just makes them keep coming back to my content. So when I think about systems also, one of the other things I was thinking about when Marco was talking was, like for me, I need to have a day where I'm going to be on camera because I'm not always camera ready. So, and there are some days I don't feel like getting camera ready. So there's some things that I need to do to plan ahead so that if we're having a video shoot day, then I need to, okay, so on Monday, I'm going to be ready. And then I'm going to do this, and this. So that's what I was thinking about. And the other thing, and now I forgot the question.
Just systems. Yeah. The power of following like the VRA system. And to your point, the other micros, like Marco's developed his own shot lists and different checklists. Better a short pencil than a long memory. And so, yeah, just systems in general and how they've helped you and what we wish we knew before starting YouTube. You talked about even being more strategic at the start. So that's kind of the context of this question.
The other thing too, though, was when Marco talked about a shot list, I do the same thing. If I'm doing something in the kitchen, I have to plan that shot list ahead of time, or something invariably is going to get missed. And then one of the things that I will do, because it might take me 2 or 3 days to get maybe a certain set of videos done, I'll wear the same thing in all the different videos, so that if I have to get another shot of something, I've got on the same outfit. I can try to relatively get my hair the same way. So if I have to shoot something else, I can flip it in without too much trouble.
At Target, get Easter basket favorites for less. And surprise them with fun treats they'll love. Pampers Cruisers 360 has a stretchy waistband with up to 100% leak-proof fit.
Too much trouble.
Yeah, I love that. And so I would love to know your aha moments so far. We have 3 final tips as we land the plane, but let me give you a quick recap. Number 1, you don't have to be perfect to start. Number 2, get clear on your YouTube channel, topic, and strategy. Number 3, video editing helps you improve as a communicator and as a storyteller. Number 4, make a money plan that doesn't depend just on YouTube ads. Number 5, prepare and think about the future and plan ahead. Number 6, pace yourself and play the long game. And number 7, systems are the key to consistent success. We have 10 total points, and so let's go on to point number 8. This is possible. And this point inspired me because Marco shared this ahead of time. He said, what you see others doing on YouTube isn't impossible. They're normal people that have the same equipment. And so talk about this. I think that, man, I can fall in that comparison trap. We fall in that comparison trap and we think, oh man, I could never do that. But I love YouTube because people of all different backgrounds, shapes, sizes, ages from all around the world are doing this. From your perspective, Marco, now that you've been in this process, what do you mean? And break this thing down as far as what you see others doing on YouTube is possible.
Right. So before you become a creator, you're a consumer of content. And as a consumer, the point of view that you have is that something magical is happening, behind the screen. How are they doing all of this? It's just, you take it for granted that they're doing this because you think that there's something special about them, there's something special about the equipment. But then once you become a creator, you realize that they're doing the same thing that you're doing. Like, I have the same camera that very successful YouTubers have, and they're getting the same ad revenue, the same sponsors that I'm getting, and so it hits you once you start creating, and you start getting, those baby steps towards success. Like, wow, this is possible. What that person did who I admired on YouTube, I can actually do that. And it's just incredible. That's the power of YouTube.
So inspiring. And Denise, would love to hear your thoughts on this as well, just as your mindset has shifted. And Marco just hit on one of my favorite phrases that we talk about is don't just be a consumer, be a creator. Mm-hmm. Step out. Don't just be a consumer. The most of the world is consumers. Consume less, create more. Join the creator economy. But it can be so intimidating. It could feel so overwhelming. So talk a little bit about this idea of this is possible.
It can be overwhelming and it can be intimidating. And when you look at me, I'm definitely a woman of a certain age. So when you think about most of the women that you see in the homemaking space, they are not in their 70s. They're in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s. So I was a little bit intimidated when I first got started because I'm not one of those young girls. I'm not this and I'm not that. But then I thought, wait, back up. I've made and created a home for more than 50 years. I know what I'm doing. I didn't just do it yesterday. Now I'm trying to show you what I learned yesterday. I've been through some things. And so I realized, just do me. Don't try to be them. Just be the authentic me, and the rest will come. The other thing that I had to learn too, because I think Marco maybe alluded to this just a little bit, is that when you're watching other people and you're watching their videos, you'll think, my video was better than that. How come they have this many views and I don't? And one of my sisters, which kept binging me, which is why I was distracted, it's like she would say, what's for you is for you. And that's what I had to realize is that, you know what? What's for you is for you. Just do you. Just be my authentic self. And the people that are attracted or that need me will find me. And that's what's been happening. The people that need me are finding me.
Man, so good. And number 9 is focus on the impact and the views will come. Marco, I love that you spoke to this. You know, we talk about wanting to help 1 million purpose-driven people create a full-time living doing what they love on YouTube, our company's mission. And money is important. The business model is important because you need money for the mission. So how can we make this sustainable? But really the people that resonate with a challenge like this and that, love being a part of what we're doing, we find that they're usually like mission-driven people that kind of start with that wanting to make a difference. And I love how you shared, you're like, listen, I didn't really have a money plan. It sounds like, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You could speak to, you wanted to start and help one person or share your creativity with the world. So talk about how, as you focused on maybe impact or excellence or just your craft, that then the byproduct was views.
Right. So the impact that I wanted to make was on my own quest for my vision. And I listened to an interesting interview with, I think it was Casey Neistat, where he was asked, well, what are you thinking when you're making a video? Are you thinking about what the viewers want to see? And he said, no, I'm never thinking about what the viewer wants to see. I'm thinking about what I want to make and what I want to see. And the more passion you have for what you want to make, the more vision that you have, and you focus on that, that's the impact that you want. And so I'm very passionate about the vision that I have for my channel and the ideas that I have. And from the beginning, the views just came through that because I think people resonated. They saw the amount of effort that I was putting into the videos, and it impacted them immediately. So the views come automatically when you're putting out something that's with quality and with passion, and that other people are interested in, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, it's powerful. I think that with the tip on screen, number 9, you could interchange the word impact and with quality, as Marco just said, with something you're passionate about, something that you put a lot of effort into. Competition is highest on YouTube for low effort content. But you could see the love and the detail and the attention to detail that Marco puts in his content as we were sharing it on screen. So, man, when we focus on that, then views become the byproduct. And I definitely know that in today's world, sometimes it's like we're chasing views and we're chasing virality, which I think are a horrible thing to chase, but an excellent reward for focusing on impact. And Denise, you shared about this ahead of time in your tips here. And I love that that's kind of where you are coming from as well. So break that down a little bit. Like you wanted to help people, you wanted to serve people. And I think that's the way you put it. Service was the word you used. Explain that a little bit.
Well, Sean, I just got to a point and I think once I hit 60,000 subscribers, I just thought, just relax. It'll come. I mean, I want that silver play button, but I thought all in good time, just relax. Like, what is it going to show when you get it? And I decided that I just really wanted to be more of service, to be able to leave a legacy where I really help these young homemakers create the kind of home that they desire. And so I thought if I just relax and just do that, then my views will come, my subscribers will come. And I think more about what do they need, not necessarily what do they want, but so often what they want is sometimes what they need. Like, my house is a mess, I clean all the time, what am I doing wrong? How do I create a routine? And I kind of know what they need because I was them. 30 or 40 years ago, I was them. So I'm creating content for those homemakers today that I might have been in their shoes when I was a young mom, when I was a young housewife, when I was learning how to create these skill sets. But what I know today is that so many of today's homemakers don't have that role model. They don't have that person to help them create those skills. I get so many emails from particularly young men and college students trying to figure out how to do laundry because, now they're away on their own and they're trying to figure out, what do I do that I don't mess up my clothes? So I'm trying to fill that gap that is missing in so many of the homemakers' lives. And it seems to be working because they're finding me.
Without the ones like you working tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. No matter your industry, Grainger's here for you with professional-grade supplies. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There is a goddess in all of us, strong as a lioness. Embrace the power within. Every goddess.
And it seems to be working because they're finding me.
So inspiring. And, over the years, I want to thank you so much for being a part of our VRA community because of your just heart to serve people, your heart for mission. And I do want to pass the question off as we get ready for number 10 and then let our guests shout some stuff out and we'll land the plane here. But what is your mission on YouTube and who do you want to impact on YouTube? I mean, again, I really believe the views will come, but what if we focus on just changing one life? Like, what if, just imagine, we asked a question yesterday, who is waiting for you to show up and take your goals and dreams seriously? Could it be that, like Denise, you want to help a homemaker, you want to help somebody who is overwhelmed by all this, by the practical things of building a home, from cleaning to laundry to the checklist of a million things and managing a home and taking care of a family, and that you could bring them peace. You could bring them community through your channel. You could help them feel inspired or encouraged. Maybe it's somebody that's a business owner that's overwhelmed or stressed because their finances are out of control and they're looking for some peace. They're looking for a system. Maybe it's somebody who needs to laugh and relax because there's a lot of stress in the world right now. So if you could entertain or educate, give them some a distraction in a healthy way after a stressful day. Sometimes I want to watch some just entertaining content. Who do you want to impact? And I heard a quote that said, "Do for one what you wish you could do for all." Don't underestimate the power of one view. Because I think if you take really serious one view in a way like Marco, I just want to make one video that's so excellent, that really has quality, that I'm proud of, and then boom, it resonates. And I really believe if you change one life, that actually that's what multiplies to when then there's 10 views and 100 views and thousands of views. So for you, and I love, man, this is where it gets crazy. And read everybody's responses here. What is your mission on YouTube and who do you want to impact? As we land the plane, we're going to number 10 is keep going and don't give up. And Marco, I want to thank you again for being here. We'll let you shout everything out in just a second, and I appreciate you. In fact, Marco, where are you streaming from right now? What country?
I'm streaming from the Netherlands, actually.
So grateful for you to come all the way from the Netherlands to our challenge. But one of the things that you talked about was, don't give in. Wanting to throw the towel in is normal, but keep going. And so I know you've touched on this a little bit, but any final thoughts on this idea of the power of just persistence and consistency?
Yeah, it's absolutely essential in this YouTube game. Absolutely. You're not going to have lasting success in 1 year. It's got to be a long game, like we were saying before. And so even when you don't feel like doing it, have the process in place, keep on going. And one video doesn't perform, that's a micro statistic. Look at the macro, the big picture, and where you want to be, not only tomorrow, not only with the next video, but within a couple of years. And use that as your motivation. And so if you see kind of success on a longer term, forget the lows. It's an upward kind of graph. And, on that graph, there's going to be dips, but, it's a journey, 100%. And for me, it's been worth it.
Marco, your story is so inspiring, and we're going to hear from Denise on this point in just a second. But give us a shout out to your channel. Of course, the channel is Just Dream Italy. You got to head over there and subscribe for such inspiring and high quality videos and lots of lessons to learn. But anything you have going on, anywhere else you want to shout out on social media, and please share your comments and feedback from Marco in the chat. He added so much value today. But any final words or shout outs, Marco?
No, yeah, I mean, by all means, if you guys are interested in what I'm doing, Just Dream Italy is my channel. If you love Italy, hopefully it's something that you like. Maybe you would discover new places in Italy by seeing it that you didn't know. It's a very beautiful country that I'm in love with. And so check it out and travel to Italy if you want to.
Come on, you're inspiring me. I got to take our 1-year-old and 3-year-old. Maybe when they're a little bit older, that journey is going to be a little crazy right now, but we are reverse engineering back from our vision as a family, maybe when they're able to kind of walk on their own and not run too crazily away to get some international travel in. And so, Marco, I want to just thank you for the work you're doing, for the excellence you're putting into it, for how hungry you're making me right now. And for someday, I want to shake your hand when we can travel to Italy. So thanks again for being a part of this stream today. And Denise, you've been doing this for years, and you've seen the ups and downs. You've felt the fatigue. You've felt the challenges. It's nothing smooth sailing. It's, I was just reading a book last night about a coach talking about team culture and stuff like that. And he was like, man, we got to commit to the process, but like, there's going to be fumbles. There's going to be external circumstances. There might be snow on the ground. It might be raining. There might be I think of course there's going to be setbacks. Sometimes we're like, oh, maybe if I get through this hard season. Well, no, there's just so many different details in life. And so share a little bit about just how you've stayed persistent, how you stayed consistent, and this idea of keep going and don't give up.
I think for me, being consistent has been being consistent with a plan, being consistent with what works for me. So 1 video a week works for me. 2 videos a week do not. I have a live show that I do every Wednesday night at 7:45. We call it Homemaking with Purpose. So 1 show every week and 1 video a week. That's all I can manage. And sometimes I may put up 1 or 2 YouTube shorts, but I haven't put up any YouTube shorts lately because I've just been too busy doing other things. So you just have to decide, okay, what can you do? What do you have the capacity for? And then work within those goals and let your people know, let your community know what it is that you're going to be doing and what's consistent for you. And I think building community is also important in keeping going and not giving up, because your community will help give you wings. They will inspire you and they will encourage you and they will look for you. So when you don't show up, they'll be like, where's Janice? So those things will help you to be consistent. And then, of course, planning ahead, having that calendar filled out and knowing what it is you need to do and not scrambling, trying to think, oh, what am I going to do today, will also help you to be consistent. So, yeah, you just have to keep going. And some days, as Marco said, it's just 1 foot in front of the other. But once you get to the end of the week, you're at the end of the week. And then think about, well, what am I going to do next week? And then what can I do 1% better?
So inspiring. And please shout out some of your channels specifically too. It's so cool to see what you've done with Apron Diva. I'm legit right now going to actually pick up this bunny apron for my wife, Sonia, who I don't think is watching this. So it'll be a surprise. Okay. And I know she's going to love it. I saw this. I was like, oh man, this is perfect. She's so pumped for Easter this weekend with our family, and we're having her parents over and my parents over and whatnot. So man, it's so cool. So just the full stuff, like whatever you want to shout out, let us know. And so people can connect with you on whatever platforms.
Well, do visit me at my YouTube channel, Homemaking with Denise. So I teach today's traditional homemaking for today's homemaker. And a homemaker is not necessarily a housewife. A homemaker is anyone who is making and keeping a home. So that could be you by yourself. It could be you and your boo. It could be you and a family. It could be a young man, college student, whoever. So I teach those skills for that entire group of people. But right there in the middle is going to be my young housewife or my young homemaker. It's like right there in the middle. And then the spillover are all those other people. And then, of course, visit me at Apron Diva. We believe that pretty and practical, an apron is a homemaker's best accessory. If you're cooking, cleaning, crafting, gardening, or working out in the garage, you need an apron to keep your clothes clean and mess-free.
Yes. Awesome. Oh, Denise, so grateful for you. If you enjoyed this content and want to take your YouTube channel to the next level, just click or tap the link on the screen or go to tube1kchallenge.com to join our next live YouTube challenge. You'll learn our best tips and strategies that are working here at Think Media, and I think you'll love it.
I started All Nation Restoration to help people. Chase for Business is literally what it says in the name. It is Chase for Business, where I can find everything I need in one place so we can help people get back to life.
Nerds Gummy Clusters. Unleash your senses.
Creators have to realize this FTC is coming for creators. According to the FTC, you need to disclose so extensively. Make sure, right, if it's on YouTube, toggle the paid promotions button. You need to.
And in this episode of the Think Media Podcast, we're going to be talking about the legal side of YouTube. We're going to be talking about some things that every creator needs to know so that they don't get sued and don't get in trouble.
This is the beauty and nightmare of living in the US, right? You can sue and be sued by anyone. So if you don't have an LLC up that veils, that protects you, then your personal assets might get touched.
What do creators need to know about brand deals?
So usage means that brands can use it however they want. I think usage rights is really important for creators to understand.
What are the most important legal agreements or contracts that YouTubers should have in place if they're starting out? Your YouTube channel might be at risk. And in this episode of the Think Media Podcast, we're going to be talking about the legal side of YouTube. We're going to be talking about some things that every creator needs to know so that they don't get sued and don't get in trouble, and some of the biggest legal mistakes creators make. But we're going to be kicking it off with also some of just the fundamentals to make sure that your YouTube channel, your online business, and your personal brand is in order right up front. Our guest today is Tyler Chow, back on the podcast. She's the creator's attorney. And Tyler, how do you introduce yourself at parties?
Thanks for that question, Sean. I'm so excited to be on again. Our last conversation was so fun, and it's really good to see that people really responded well to it. So this is how I introduce myself. I am the creator's attorney. My life's mission is to protect creators and bring them to seven-figure businesses. I've been an attorney in Hollywood for the last 16 years, and I started my own YouTube channel 2 years ago. And then I fell in love with the space and realized that a lot of creators are being taken advantage of and don't know what they don't know. And so it's really my goal to educate and protect creators. And our conversation, I think, hopefully does that.
Well, I'm excited to dive into some juicy topics. You know, some of the things creators get stuck on is maybe FTC guidelines and disclosures and affiliate marketing. Sometimes they can get in trouble with brands, and creators are getting scammed by brands a lot too, like maybe fake brands that are sliding into their DMs and their email inbox. But I actually just want to start off at a high level based on some questions from our past episode on the business of content creation. Mm-hmm. And so what are the most important legal agreements or contracts that YouTubers should have in place if they're starting out?
Well, I think we touched upon this in the last conversation. I think doing an LLC, I think employment agreements are really important. So if you have anyone working for you, whether they be editors, producers, script writers, anything that is creating content for you, I think they need to be under those contracts. I think some NDAs are helpful, right? If you want to send cease and desist to people who might be sharing confidential information that they learn while working with you or even just talking to you, right? Like maybe you want to partner with somebody or start a channel with somebody and you share information and ideas or about your channel or products or anything. I think NDAs are really important. I think, those are kind of just high level what they need. We talked about what do creators need? They need to pay their taxes. They need to have general liability insurance, defamation insurance, and I think trademarks are really important. I mean, it's not a contract, but it is a legal protection, because as we see the future flood of creators who are going to come in, when you look at all the laid off tech people, you look at traditional Hollywood, where there's less and less TV and film now. I'm sure you've heard it. People are like wanting to come into the creator space to create content, because I think that's the American dream, where where else do you get to make a video where millions of people will see it, right? That's YouTube.
The dream is real, and the creator economy is estimated to grow and double even in the next couple of years. And you're referencing part one of our conversation, which I'll link to in the show notes, and I encourage listeners to check that out after this episode. But when it comes to contractors, let's say you hired somebody on Upwork. Probably one of the most common things is somebody jumps on an online Fiverr.com. Do you think you're liable or vulnerable if you just outsource some editing or thumbnail design to someone on Fiverr and you don't have a contract with them?
Hold on. An Oreo snack cake. Yes, sir. Yummy, fluffy, soft baked. Yes, sir. I can have my cake and Oreo cookie too. Yes, sir. Oreo cakes.
If you just outsource some editing or thumbnail design to someone on Fiverr and you don't have a contract with them?
That's a great question. I have not looked at the terms of service for Fiverr or Upwork. I would hope that they have some type of language in there, but I don't know, right? I think it is so much better to have a template, and I am actually selling. I mean, based off of our last conversation, so many people reached out to me that now I didn't before, but I will start selling a shorter template, right? Versus the kind of full length ones that I do for my clients, where you can just have them sign. It's a short one where it says everything you do for me is owned by me. Because what you don't want is for them to have your content that they're either editing for you or filming for you, and they say, well, I own that because for whatever reason they believe so. And if you don't have a piece of paper that says otherwise, then I think that leaves you exposed.
Yeah, that's super smart. And we'll link to your resources in the description down below. And I just think about these types of investments are just critical, because it might seem up front like, this is that. This is all that details. I just want to make videos, but protecting yourself is huge. And reference episode number 1 to check out. You mentioned, maybe you don't have to start an LLC day one, but didn't you say maybe if you're earning $1,000 or $2,000 a month consistently, and you're maybe hiring in a video editor or somebody, that you really want to start having this stuff in order?
Well, I actually wanted to clarify that. I actually just meant $1,000 or $2,000 a year, because I think that's how much it costs to set up I mean, it's even less than that, right? It's probably a few $100s to set up an LLC. I think here's the threshold. If you own your house, if you own a 401k, if you own any assets that you don't want to be touched during a litigation or someone who's suing you, let's say you do a brand deal and they get sick, let's say it's a supplement. I'm making this up, right? Like it's a supplement, they get sick, they're going to sue you, they're going to sue the brand. If you don't have an LLC up that veils, that protects you, then your personal assets might get touched. And here's the thing, you will say, well, how could I get sued? This is the beauty and nightmare of living in the US, right? You can sue and be sued by anyone. And once you get sued, you have to hire an attorney to defend you in that litigation. And I have a client right now who did nothing wrong, who was just a simple employee. He's paid over $100,000 trying to defend himself, trying to get out of this lawsuit. And he's had to file bankruptcy because he has no money left. But he still has to keep borrowing money basically to try to defend himself, because if you don't defend yourself, then a default judgment gets entered against you, and that follows you for life. Every job that you go to they will take that paycheck. So it's something you can't just get sued and say, well, I'm just not going to defend myself, which I think a lot of people might think, well, I had nothing to do with it. Once you're named in a complaint, you have to answer and you have to defend yourself.
And so LLC stands for limited liability company. If you have one, then like worst case scenario, your LLC goes bankrupt. Worst case scenario, that protection is crushed, but your assets, your house, your cars are not touched, correct?
Yes, and whatever, money you might have in your checking account for the business, that, whatever assets the business owns might be touched. So if you have a lot of equipment, I mean, look, most of us don't have, maybe not you. I think you're different, but I don't own, I probably own a couple $1,000s worth of equipment, right? And that might be touched, but that's really it, whatever the business owns.
Which, as a side note, at a much lower legal level, I know my wife, who's our CFO, has been so helpful on handling a lot of the details of our business. It's funny to say CFO too, like, because we're some small town kids. I'm the CEO. We were just talking about today, like, whatever. We're just trying to figure this thing out. But there was some stuff we did, at least early on. This isn't legal protection, but if you do have a lot of equipment you're investing in, you want to list that on maybe your homeowner's insurance.
Yes.
And if we're up to or renter's insurance. Most probably don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, but over time, it's easy to have $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a year. And that's just kind of a tip to be thoughtful. If you have serial numbers, photos, some things like that of the stuff that you have, again, that just might be some protection. Okay. So different legal agreements that they could get in place. What about intellectual property? As content creators are thinking about A, what they're saying in their videos themselves. B, maybe they put what they know into an online course. They write a book. And then C, maybe they try to create some original characters or whatnot. And I've heard a big debate in this arena that it's kind of hard to defend IP of your ideas at some point. But what are your thoughts on this?
Chips Ahoy Baked Bites are so soft. With chocolate chips. So not a cookie. So irresistibly good.
Where regular brushes miss, Oral-B Electric hits for 100% cleaner teeth.
So ideas are not protected. You are correct. However, did you know that every time we put a video up on YouTube, it is automatically copyrighted? You don't have to go to the copyright office, and you can, by the way, but no one will really do that unless you do a movie that's an hour long and you think this could be pirated or I need to protect this. You could officially go to the copyright office and get it copyrighted. But every time we put out our videos on YouTube, it is automatically protected. So anything you put in a tangible form, whether it be a book, a video, a song that's broadcasted, those are protected. But an idea, you're right. Like you and I talking about an idea, that's not protected. So for the things that you've mentioned, I think names, mottos, sayings, there are things about a business that you could protect through a trademark or a patent, if it's something that is protectable by a patent.
You made a video too about a saying, and you suggested there was a creator that actually should trademark her saying because it started to be used as a meme. Do you remember that story?
Yes, the very demure, very mindful. So I got into a fight with another lawyer on LinkedIn because he said, well, that's just a fleeting, fancy. You don't need to protect that. Anybody could have said that and anybody could have made it blow up like that. And I disagree because I think Jules is a certain type of creator who a lot of people respect and like. And I think because she said that saying, it became very viral. And I believe, so the story, in case people don't know, some third party unrelated to the original creator went and basically stole it and went to trademark it. And wow. I thought that was incredibly wrong because this person's just a bad actor. I say lazy, right? You're just stealing people's trending saying. And I really urge Jules and her team to go trademark it, because I think once you have that, you are more valuable. I always want my clients, my creator clients, to think about themselves as a business and think about an exit in mind. Most creators probably won't make content for the rest of their lives. They like it, but as you know, after 5 years, 10 years, it really, it can be a recipe for burnout if you're only relying on AdSense and brand deals. If you have your own business, you launch your own products, then you have more control over it. But I think a lot of buyers, like private equity funds who want to buy channels or buy businesses that creators create, they like to look at your IP. What if you trademark? What do you own? And having a portfolio of trademarks makes your business just so much more valuable.
I love that mindset. Before we go on to the next category, I'm curious, for those listening that want to think of this as a long-term business and want to be smart, and listening to this podcast, of course, an hour of legal advice is $1,000 plus. So this podcast is, super, super valuable to think about. And of course, this is also not official advice. This
is not legal advice. Yes,
I have legal advice. It is general, yes. But priceless nonetheless. Out of your clients, of course, leaving them anonymous, what are the issues? Like, where are they failing? What are the things that if they would have done it differently, they wouldn't be in the trouble they are with now? And we get the price of advice of maybe learning from their mistakes. Do you want to get your first or next 1,000 subscribers on YouTube faster? For the first time ever, we are hosting a free one-day event at videogrowthday.com. During this one-day online event, you will learn our step-by-step YouTube success system for getting views, subscribers, and making money. You'll get to connect with the Think Media team and be a part of community, conversation, and a bunch of cool giveaways. And you'll leave with your personalized YouTube game plan for success. So to register, just go to videogrowthday.com or click the link in the show notes. Now, let's jump back into the episode.
What a great question. One of the biggest things that I'm doing is unwinding partnership situations. You start a YouTube channel with your best friend. A few years later, you have a falling out. You want to exit somebody out of the channel. So who owns the channel? Most of the time, there isn't a contract in place, and that becomes a problem. Then it becomes a race to, well, who has control of the YouTube channel? Who can, block out access? I don't want that to happen. Just have a partnership agreement from day one. Agree that you both own 50% of the channel. Agree that if someone no longer wants to do it, they can buy the other person out, or there just has to be some exit strategy as to what happens when you want to wind the channel down, or if you want to stay on and somebody else wants to leave, or if you want to take a different direction. What happens when you have a dispute and you're 50-50? Do you bring in a third party to help you resolve that? I mean, these are mechanisms that I can put in place in a partnership agreement. I'm unwinding a lot of these predatory agreements out there where these companies are giving loans to creators. I don't know if you know about these, Sean, but they're loans with really, really loan shark-like terms. They have to keep making content at a certain pace. And if they don't, then these companies threaten to take their channels away. They go talk to brands that they're working with to badmouth them. I mean, this is a very dark I'm probably going to make a whole video about this, but it's a very dark thing that's happening to a lot of creators right now. And I'm really worried and angry about it. And I'm really debating if I want to call these companies out on LinkedIn and just kind of openly say, stop doing this. But I'm on the fence about it.
Would you not say a name of a company here?
No, I would not.
What
but if you're
macro,
I'm sorry.
What are like the terms? So then what are maybe like, so what they're doing is they're giving you a loan, but then in the fine print too, they've got some stuff that's maybe like, and if you don't, we get your channel, or if you don't,
yes.
And then then we have maybe high interest kind of things and stuff.
It's the termination. There was one client where he got $100,000. 50% of it was taken away in taxes because of the way they
structured it.
They structured it.
Jeez.
And It was a $50,000 termination fee. And my client was almost on the verge of a nervous breakdown by the time he came to me. And I went to battle against this company, and I said, and they took more money than they should have. They took it from his brand deals. And so I said, let's go to court. I would love to get you in front of a judge. And I actually was able to get my client out of that deal without paying a dime, because I said, I didn't threaten them. I just said, let's go in front of a judge and let's talk about all the money you've taken. Let's talk about how fair this is. And my client, I've had a lot of creator clients cry to me, and I'm so grateful that I can make such a deep difference in their lives, because sometimes.
For the ones ensuring the job always gets done, and the ones wearing many hats, Grainger offers professional-grade industrial supplies and real-time product availability. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Difference in their lives, because sometimes they have no idea what to do. Like when they lose their channels or when they get demonetized or copyright strikes, the fact that I can sometimes help is really, really meaningful. And it makes a world of difference for me.
Man, this is so good. So be very careful about going into partnerships in business and in YouTube channels, and sit down with somebody to get a partnership agreement from day one. Avoid predatory loans and be really thoughtful there. And so those are such good pieces of advice. I want to talk about influencer marketing and FTC guidelines. Of course, anybody listening to this, even if they're just starting and even if they post a video on YouTube or anywhere on social media, we've all seen it where maybe you're supposed to say hashtag ad, and do you give a verbal disclosure? But if we dig in, a couple stories. Back in 2019, there was the landmark case where YouTube was fined for violating COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and that was an FTC thing ultimately, and that shifted things a lot. We had in 2022, the Kardashians were warned for failing to properly disclose paid partnerships on social media. And in 2023, the FTC updated its endorsement guides to clarify disclosure requirements for influencers, emphasizing clear and conspicuous disclosure of any material connection to brands. At a high level, what do you think the mistakes, or what do creators need to know about affiliate marketing, brand deals, disclosures, and maybe where they could get into trouble here?
So there was a third bucket that I forgot to mention from the last question, which is something else I'm really working on with creators, is equity deals. I think if you're a high level creator who is doing 5 to 6 figure brand deals, you should be asking for equity. And so I just wanted to highlight that, because a lot of creators, I will say this to them, huge creators, and they will say, oh, I had no idea I could be asking for equity. But I think Alex Earl taking equity in Poppy, Joe Rogan taking equity in Carnivore Snacks, and of course there's 50 Cent who took equity in Vitamin Water and had a very nice exit. I think I just want to put that on the map for creators at least.
But so to be clear, that's kind of also, rather than like a mistake to avoid a bad partnership, it's a mistake to just take 5 figures for a brand deal instead of thinking about equity, because you might be getting the short end of the deal. And creators, this is probably at least for mid-sized creators, would you say?
Probably,
5 figures is going to be 10,000, or 5 figures you're doing $50,000 deals?
Probably on the higher end. However, if you, and this is something I truly believe in, you don't have to be a huge creator to have a huge impact, right? I know you agree with this. There are small creators out there who are such experts in their space. Like this morning, I spoke to a tennis creator. She's not a huge creator, but she has such deep impact with tennis brands. And so she might have, let's say she has 10,000. I don't know, actually 10,000 on YouTube, but her impact, and she has gotten equity. So my point is, don't necessarily tie what I just said to, I shouldn't think about this. No, you should be thinking about it from day one. If you're an expert who's just starting their YouTube channel, but you are a doctor or a lawyer or a mechanic or an engineer who can give advice to these startups who are starting, then you can ask for equity from day one. Don't just think because I have a small channel or I haven't been doing brand deals. Think about your position and your value to the company coming to you, wanting to work with you. If you're like my client, the tennis creator, she's a small creator, but she has so much value because she's been a tennis player for 20 years. So like, think about it that way, right? Like, what is the value you're giving to the company? Don't think I shouldn't ask for this. Ask for everything. All they can do is say no. But I think you should be thinking about equity way sooner than most creators are thinking about it.
So if we go a little bit deeper on that, we'll come back to the disclosures. I think like this kind of makes me think of also UGC creators and just the idea that user generated content is a whole niche in and of itself. And you, the person, your ability to create videos, the way you look, the way you sound, your charisma, your history, and what you're saying too, your expertise. So you might be day one on YouTube or social. You might have 1,000 subscribers. You're growing that up, but your depth and your expertise, what would it cost for that brand to hire you? If they hired you, they'd probably give you a 6-figure salary if you went and worked for them full time as a face, as a voice, with that level of authority. So now a small YouTube channel is worth way over 6 figures, depending on your background. And in that case, now you're able to maybe negotiate from a different perspective. Am I thinking correctly?
Totally, because we're seeing more professionals starting YouTube channels, right, who have an expertise in something. So I think I love that example you gave. Think of it as 6 figures. I tell my clients when they're about to accept equity deals that it should be cash plus equity. And the cash is basically the services you're providing. If they're asking you for 5 to 10 hours a month, equate that to what is your hourly rate. If they're wanting your expertise, if they're wanting you to, go talk to people in the tennis space or go talk to, this manufacturer or give us advice on, as a tennis expert, like how would you figure out X, Y, and Z? This is something that they do not have information. And then you typically would pay a consultant, right? Companies pay consultants all the time for their expertise. So think of yourself as a consultant to the company, and what would you ask in that sense? So I think sometimes asking $2,000 to $5,000 a month for your expertise, depending on your level, plus equity is very fair.
If we stay on brand deals, at what point do you think it's essential to get an attorney involved? And one of your passions is helping creators earn more money. And is it your belief that most creators could also just charge more besides just equity if they understood things better or maybe had a second opinion, an outside perspective like yours?
Totally. I have a client on LinkedIn who's huge. And when I first met him, he was making probably 2 to 3 times less. And I asked him, I said, how much are you asking for your post on LinkedIn? And he said something less than 4 figures. And I said to him, you should be making 4 to 5 figures. And because of that one advice from me, he started asking for more. I think most creators just don't ask for enough money. They think, oh my goodness, someone wants to give me $500 for a video. Amazing. If you ask the brand what their budget was and how many creators are in the campaign, those 2 questions could probably help you figure out how much you should ask for. When I step into a deal, I usually 2 to 4x the original offer because I asked a bunch of questions. And I have no problem asking for more money for my clients. Now, a lot of us have trouble asking for more money for ourselves. I don't know what psychological block there is. We just feel like we're not worthy or entitled to that. I have no trouble. If someone offers you $10,000, I could say $50,000. Like, I have no trouble doing that. So if you have a manager or an attorney who can do that for you, I think that would be very helpful to just get you away from that lower, current price that you have yourself set at.
I bet 99% of creators can relate to that, including myself. I think on the one hand, I intrinsically know my value, but yet I still hedge a little bit. And that's partly the power of the third person, is just to kind of represent you and not flinch, like not kind of waffle around a little bit. So I'm like, oh, and the creator in me is also, like still hustling, still kind of maybe sometimes thinking small. You just get somebody that's objectively more disconnected from it with expertise like yourself. And it's pretty wild to think that from a little bit of difference in negotiation, that you could just instantly start charging 2 to 3 times more per brand deal, no matter what size of creator you are, simply because of understanding your value. Is there things that happen that you notice where brands, essentially how creators could avoid getting screwed over by brands because of contracts or terms or things that have happened to your clients?
I think most creators, especially younger ones, newer ones don't understand usage rights or, just whitelisting, boosting, things that are in addition. They just think, oh, I'm just giving you a video, but you don't realize what the brand takes your video and does with it. And a lot of times that part the creator gets screwed on, because they say, okay, here's $1,000, and then the brand ends up using it. They don't even realize that you can ask for usage. Usage is 10 to 30% of the base price for every 30 days. If they want control of your channel or they want to put paid ads behind you, that's something you should ask for more money. And I think a lot of creators don't even understand what those are. And sometimes brands or the agencies that they hire to manage the campaign sometimes will not pay creators. That's also something I deal with a lot for big creators, is 6-figure brand deals not getting paid. Typically the brand will pay, but they will pay the agency, and then the agency holds on to it and doesn't pay because for whatever reason, right? Bad management, but they will do this terrible Ponzi pyramid where they will pay a creator from their last paycheck, even though it wasn't the paycheck for that creator. Right. And it's a bad trickle down effect. So, and I've known a lot of creators who are not paid, and it's $500 or $1,000 or $2,000. And they think, well, what's the point? It's going to cost me that much to hire an attorney anyway. I would say that, it costs me not that much of my time to send a letter out for a lot of creators. I've done that. I've done just a one-time demand letter, and they typically pay. Sometimes they don't pay the full price, but at least you're getting something, because their sob story will be, well, we're going under or we're struggling, but here's 50%. And that's better than nothing.
It's interesting, because I think creators listening to this might not realize how common it is that maybe you could struggle getting paid from brands. Them not paying, it could be bad management. And we've learned too that good brands that usually typically end up paying, sometimes 3 months passes, 6 months passes. Sometimes it's taken a year to actually get payment. There's like a French Montana and Drake song that says, hopping out the jet, Lears, don't call me till the check clears. And one of the things I've learned is that until the check clears, you don't have the money. Like, until you got the money in your bank account, you don't have the money in your bank account. And that's very hard for creator businesses that depend on, I got this great brand deal. It might be tough if you're cash strapped though for a year. And so having diversity.
Totally.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it makes me so mad, because you can't go to Best Buy and buy a TV and say, I'm going to pay you in 90 days and take the TV out. It just doesn't work that way. But yet creators are being asked to basically cash flow, the company sometimes for, like you said, 3, 6, 12 months. And I used to work in Hollywood, Disney, Skydance, BuzzFeed, and actors don't fly until the money is in escrow at the agencies, right? They will not get on an airplane to go on location unless that money is there. And so that is something that I would love to be able to do for creators, but that's a whole other thing that, us taking on that, or even do creators join SAG? I mean, that could be another conversation altogether, but I think, there's a lot of things that need to change and procedures need to be there. I think having advocates, I mean, I'm one person, but I do think me shouting very loudly at companies and does change their policy. There was one agency out there that was just not paying creators, and I called them out. I did call them out on LinkedIn because someone else called them out, but I was doing a deal with them currently at that moment with a big creator. And I said, if you don't pay, and actually because of what happened, I was able to ask for 50% upfront upon signature before we even started work.
Golden Oreo cake sticks. Enter soft mode.
Teeth sensitivity is so common. It immediately feels like, somebody's poking directly on their nerve. I recommend Sensodyne. Sensodyne toothpaste goes inside the tooth and calms the nerve down. And my patients say, doc, it really works.
Work. Because I have sort of that leverage, and I can shout very loudly, and I know kind of, people in the industry that you can't do this to creators. And I'm on that soapbox, shouting for creators who can't do it themselves.
This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. StreamYard is our go-to platform here at Think Media for live streaming to Facebook and YouTube and for recording our video podcast. It has an incredibly easy-to-use interface for built-in branding, transitions, text lower thirds, and seamlessly bringing on guests. And they just added an awesome new feature called local recording. This allows you to take the quality to another level by separating out your audio and video from your guests, giving you more control over your content for later use. This feature is perfect for video and podcast creators. And so to get a special deal on StreamYard right now and to see all the features that are included, just go to streamwiththink.com. That is streamwiththink.com.
I want to go back to also usage rights to clarify. What creators don't realize is that they might do a brand deal, they get $1,000, they post a video, but in the contract, that brand took usage rights, and now they're running paid ads using your likeness and your media, and they're doing it for the next 5 years.
Or forever, Sean, right?
Forever. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to ask you, because young creators definitely know this, including myself, and you also don't even realize who you may become. Whatever, so you're a new creator, you're like, I just need $1,000. You can't even imagine that someday you might have a silver play button or beyond, and what might, your influence be. Let me ask you this. So if you did one of those brand deals, and then can you ever get out of it? Like if you
yes,
signed away usage rights and they're still using it, you're like, okay, it's 7 years later. My prominence is, bigger. I'm more established, and yet they're still running ads on my likeness, and maybe their product has even gone downhill. You're like, it's been so long. It was great then, and now it's different. Times have changed, but they're still just kind of milking your likeness. What's your advice here?
Or that the brand is so big now that they should be paying you. I have certainly gone back to brands and companies and renegotiated those deals, and I have been successful because they know what they did was wrong, and they know that what they did was taking advantage. And I just say to them, this is taking advantage. Do you know that story of that actor Simu, who he was on he's one of the actors, on the he was the dragon, in the Marvel, the Asian Marvel movie, and when he was starting out as an actor, he was an extra, and he did this short little commercial as like corporate guy number 3 or something. And so now that company owns that stock footage and uses it everywhere, and he tried to go back and buy the stock footage back, but because he gave in perpetuity rights, he couldn't buy it back, and they were not incentivized to sell it back to him. So now they use that to run advertising, and he's a huge star now. He's a Marvel actor. That's to your point. When you're starting out as a creator, you don't think about it. But what happens in a few years if you have 1 million subscribers and you're doing big brand deals, and there's this thing floating out there, and that brand is so usage means that they can run it on their own channels, on their own websites. They can use it to basically run campaigns however they want, and it's something that I think usage rights is really important for creators to understand.
Man, that's really interesting. I do want to close the loop on the influencer marketing FTC guidelines.
Yes.
So
Let's talk about that.
disclosures, and again, I think the Kardashians were just warned, and
Actually, they were fined, Sean.
Oh, they were, okay.
He was fined, yeah. It was like 6 figures because they wanted to make an example of her. It was a crypto campaign.
Okay, and that might have. Oh, yeah. Okay, so they failed to disclose they've been paid to promote cryptocurrency investment schemes. They ended up being fined.
Yes.
So, what's your advice here?
Disclose so extensively. There are 3 ways you should, according to the FTC. You need to make sure, right, if it's on YouTube, toggle the paid promotions button. You need to say it out loud, right? This video is sponsored by X, Y, and Z. You need to have it on screen somewhere or in the descriptions. I actually maybe 4 different ways. Like as many ways as you can disclose that you're being paid for this sponsorship, this review. What the FTC wants to be so careful about is they want the consumer, right, the viewers who are watching it, to understand that you, Sean, if you're talking about a product but you were paid for it, that's maybe going to give you a different type of review than if you were to say, I bought this with my own money. How often have you guys bought camera or whatever and you said, we bought this because we wanted to give a neutral, our neutral opinion?
And it's a leveraged point because most people, I think there's mistrust, or you want there to be transparency, but what level of trust can you have when you're like, and I think what a lot of people say is they say, listen, I can totally share my opinion. This was sent to me for free. Getting paid for a product review is actually something I think we either don't do it or 99% of the time we won't do it. I'm like, there's no such thing as getting paid for a product review. Getting a free, there is such a thing, but I'm like, now I'm incentivized because I'm getting money. If I get the product free with no holds bar, right? Like, hey, I can say whatever I want. All they did was send us a review unit and listen, here's my thoughts.
Yep.
I like that. And then the point is to disclose it, right?
Yes. And that's a great point. Even if it's free, you can say, I think there's hashtag gifted or hashtag free, and just as long as they understand that you got it, because sometimes even free is a gift, and the FTC just wants the viewer to understand, how did you get this product, and so they understand your motivations. And it's harder, I think, when it's paid or gifted, to give maybe a neutral opinion about it. That's really my opinion. So
there's probably 3 levels. If you got paid money to review it, that's like the least bias. If you got it free, but you maybe get I trust a lot of creators because they're like a tech review factory. They just get lots of headphones sent to them, lots of cameras sent to them, and they develop maybe a level of trust in their opinion. But they certainly, I think then that 3rd level is the highest level. When a creator jumps on and goes, so the camera I decided to purchase,
right,
which might also be like, hey, out of everything, this is what I spent my own money on, or I did buy this myself regardless, and I don't love it, or I do love it. So that's interesting.
Electric cleans 100% better than regular brushes. It's time to switch.
I don't love it, or I do love it. So that's interesting. Keep going.
So disclose everywhere. I would say over disclose. Now, I understand a lot of times creators don't want to do that because they think, oh, it's like annoying or it's too much information. But I would say the FTC is cracking down on creators. And I think the example you mentioned with Kim Kardashian is a good one. They're realizing, I think the FTC is realizing how much money is going into the creator marketing space. And they want to make sure that people are disclosing that they are getting paid sponsorships, or that they're investors, right? Or, or they're getting equity even, that they're somehow an owner in the business, because that also will skew, right, their opinion about the product. If you know that Alex Earl is now a part owner in Poppy, you might think, well, no wonder she likes Poppy so much. She owns part of it. I don't know, right? I'm making that up, but you know what I'm saying. She might really like Poppy, but you do. The FTC just wants the consumer, the buyer, to have all the information before they decide to buy something.
Yeah, and if I'm looking this up right now, it was 2023 that they had updated endorsement guides, clear and conspicuous. Clear, easy to understand. It should be obvious to the audience that the endorser has a relationship with the brand. Conspicuous, difficult to miss. The disclosure should not be placed where it should be placed where people are likely to see it. So you might put it at the top of the description, which is where we do at Think Media. We'll say, like, earns commissions from affiliate links. We'll say this video is not capital NOT sponsored to actually, to at least frame it, like, just to be clear, this video is not sponsored. We'll use affiliate links pretty much all the time, right? If it's a book or whatever, so we disclose that. So you don't want to bury it. Conspicuous would be not hidden, but put it difficult to miss. And then they say being paid by the brand, getting free products or services from the brand, having a family or employment relationship with the brand, owning stock from the brand. When it comes to affiliate marketing, or when it comes to the YouTube box where it says includes paid promotion, if you purchase a product, which we buy lots of stuff off Amazon ourselves without a brand deal to review or to include in a video. Mm-hmm. And the video is not sponsored. We're not getting paid. We purchase the products ourselves. And we will verbally say, and hey, if you want to check out any of this stuff, there's links in the description down below. Those are our affiliate links, which means we earn commissions or might earn commissions. Would we be okay not checking that YouTube box, or do you think that we just always should?
That's a great question. And I actually will not answer it because I don't know the answer. I need to go actually look at the kind of terms and service about that, because affiliate marketing is, I think, different in terms of what a paid promotion is, because Amazon is not paying you anything. That's what a paid promotion is.
Yeah, not up front.
Right.
Yeah.
But they haven't paid you. They haven't sent you a product. You decide to use the product and then put a link to it. I'd like to actually do a little more research. I will never say something I don't exactly know. So I want to check on that, but I don't think you need to. And I do want to answer your question about bearing the hashtags. Yes, always have it at the beginning of your description. It should be visible when they're looking at, before you click on the more, like it should be in the beginning of your description, because the FTC just wants to know that you are disclosing it to your audience and the audience gets to see it right away, that it's not buried. And I love that you have the not promote. This is not promoted. I think what people have to realize, creators have to realize, is FTC is coming for creators. They're realizing how much money is in this space and they want to start making an example. And as we saw from the FTX situation, a lot of creators got sued because of what happened there. And the FTC wants creators to disclose, but also maybe even do some due diligence. If you're promoting a financial product like crypto, I think that's why those fines are so huge. And that's why the FTC came after the creators, was because finance is so regulated, and it's people's money. It's people's entire life savings. It could bankrupt people. So they take that very, very seriously, especially when it comes to finance products.
If we go into that, this is a massive thing. CoffeeZilla is covering Logan Paul, and he specializes really in a lot of crypto. Andrew Tate has said he wouldn't promote any crypto projects, yet has promoted many, and now is pushing one of his own. And we are seeing a lot of influencers scamming their fans through crypto, a lot of finance influencers, perhaps ignorance is not an excuse, but early on with FTX, FTX kind of fooled a lot of people, and Sam Bankman-Fried, it seemed like the best thing in town. And yet a lot of people got screwed over on that. And there's all kinds of stuff in this space in regards to giving financial advice about stocks and things pumping up like GameStop and Bed Bath & Beyond. And there's just so much happening here. For what should creators know about this crypto space from your perspective? What are the dangers if you're a content creator talking about crypto finance? And how can the creators also just stay safe so they don't get scammed or sucked into this stuff?
I want to say don't do it, but I know that's maybe too strict. I think crypto endorsements are really tricky because you always have a chance that one of the crypto companies that you're endorsing is going to scam its buyers, its users. I know that there are a handful of kind of the legitimate ones, the bigger ones, and I will disclaim this by saying I don't own any crypto. I'm not an expert in crypto. There are maybe even crypto people who can speak better than I can, but I think you just have to be careful with any endorsement that you do. To actually do some research, ask around, maybe ask other finance creators if you're one. Hey, what do you think about this product? I saw that you did an endorsement. Maybe that's it too, right? Is seeing who else has done endorsements and talking to them, and just doing a little bit of homework before you just decide to take a paycheck, not a paycheck, like a check from a brand. Because they're offering it, and I think a lot of creators are smart. A lot of creators, when they get those very funky looking emails, will know, is this a real brand deal? Is this a fake brand? Is this a scam? I think a lot of creators also say no to brands because they're a little scared. I mean, I certainly have clients who do that, who I'm surprised they will say no. I will bring in, I manage about 30 creators. I bring brand deals to them, and some of them will just say, no, I don't want to do that. Like sometimes it's insurance, and it happens to be a big creator. Let's say it's a food creator. And she says, do I want to sell insurance? It is a paycheck, but what's a great piece of advice I love giving to my clients and creators is ask your audience, what products do you love? And then you can go show the brand, look, my audience loves you. Can we do a partnership? And then actually do that brand deal. And then your audience is blown away because you actually listen to them. That has been very successful for a lot of my clients, is to ask your audience, what products do you guys love right now? I'd love to check some out. And then that would maybe make sense. And it could be something not in their niche. And so that's, I think, something that's very powerful.
Shake, 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 Sinora, shake your body liner. Shake, 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 Sinora, shake it all the time.
The perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that shit on everything.
Shake, shake.
As a super powerful tip, right as we're landing the plane of the podcast, you got to listen to this whole episode because it's packed with so much value. But Tyler, I'm only halfway through my questions. And so we will get you on the calendar again. I want you to shout out your stuff in just a second. And I have one final question for you. But listeners, thanks for listening to this episode. And I did my best to actually run all of last 400 comments so far on part one, which will be linked up in the show notes. I ran it through Google Gemini to kind of summarize some themes. And I want to continue to listen to our Think Media podcast listeners and pass those questions along to you. So if you listen on audio, visit the YouTube version, drop in the comments on YouTube. What questions do you have about this stuff? What other topics would be helpful to cover in the future? And definitely subscribe for future episodes of the Think Media podcast, for growing your channel, getting more views, but also for staying safe and building real legacy and a solid business on solid ground. And Tyler, just acknowledge you for so much value. Now, let us know, what are some of the things you have going on? You've got communities, you've got resources. We'll make sure it's all itemized in the show notes, but shout out where people can connect with you for more.
So you can find me on my YouTube channel called Tyler Chow, the Creator's Attorney. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm actually writing on there several times a week. I try to write every day, and just kind of everything we cover today, I do on LinkedIn. I am starting a community, and I think really based on our last conversation, Sean, it's shown me that creators really do need a space where they can come get legal advice, that they can maybe talk to other creators as they're starting out or even further along in their journey. And I think I'm going to launch I'm going to open it up. I think I'm going to have a Black Friday sale. So if you join then, it'll be at a discounted rate. But I'm probably going to launch it in either December or January. It's going to be on Mighty Networks, and it will feature myself live probably twice a month. We'll have just a huge Q&A for creators to come in. One of my clients, Jenny Hoyas, will probably, some of my clients will come on and answer questions. Cassandra Bankston's another client on, how to grow your channel, how questions, brand deals, different things. And I really think that creators should diversify their ways of making money. And launching a product. I'm actually helping one creator launch a cereal right now, and another one do press-on nails. Like, I'm just getting to be an expert in all these different things. So I'll cover kind of in those 12 months with me in my community how to launch a product and how to do different things to make money. Like, I'm being the guinea pig. I'm doing the community to see, like, this is a good idea. Capture your email list. I think that's so important. Start asking your audience for their emails, and do affiliates. I mean, I think, Sean, you're really good at that. I'm just starting to do that. One of the products I really love right now is called High Level. It's a CRM. It's a system that it's replaced my Calendly, my DocuSign. It sends out mass SMS for your YouTube and Instagram audience, and I've been using it and I love it. And so check them out. We can hopefully have the links down below, but I will have the wait list for my community. I'll share that with you, Sean, and maybe you can put in the description. That would be great. Because I think it's something that a lot of people are asking for, and you'll be able to buy templates from me as well, like independent contractors, employee, NDAs, anything. I'm very much, hey, Tyler, I need this as a creator, and I will really think about making that for you, because this is my life's mission, is to protect creators and grow you guys all to be 7-figure creators.
Well, we'll make sure that all of that is in the show notes. One short answer to the final question. What do you think is the right mindset for creators in 2025? Or what is the mindset going into the opportunity, but also maybe how they could navigate in terms of seizing the opportunity and staying safe in the creator economy in 2025?
I think 2025 will be a huge year for creators. I think there's just so much focus. I mean, I was at the Forbes and Walmart upfronts this week. I mean, the huge brand is wanting to just work with creators. There were probably 50 creators who were brought in to kind of introduce themselves, and it was electrifying. And all this money is pouring in, private equity funds, Hollywood, like traditional. I had a conversation yesterday with one of the, like, this huge studio owner who wants to know how to start a YouTube channel. I mean, it blew me away. I mean, he's a dad at my son's school, but he was like, I was sharing with him what I was doing. He's like, oh my God, I have to buy you lunch because I want to find out how to start a YouTube channel. I mean, he has such an established brand. If I said his name, you would lose your mind, but I'm going to not. And he's the biggest horror producer out there. I'll just leave it at that. And this is where everyone is looking. Everyone wants to become creators. So if you already started your YouTube channel, you're already ahead of all of these people who want to become creators. All the tech people who've been laid off, all the kids, all the teenagers, all of the traditional TV and film people who are out of work right now because film and TV is drastically been slashed with production. They all want to come into the YouTube space because, like I said, it's the American dream. Where else can you make a video and millions of people can see it immediately? There's nowhere else. And so I think be excited, realize that you're in the right place, Sean and Think Media is such an amazing resource for you as you're starting. So I'm so excited for all the creators who are listening.
Future is bright for the creator economy. In the creator economy, like, rate, review, subscribe for future episodes. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel. And this is the Think Media Podcast. We'll catch you in the next one.
people are like, you'd love this video. They tell 3 more friends, and they tell a bunch more friends, and they tell a bunch more friends. But it gets to a certain point where we've exhausted our friend circle. Everyone who is interested in it watched it or passed on it, and there's just nobody else that we can recommend it to, or we don't know anybody else to recommend it to. And that's when you'll typically see a video like launch, and YouTube is like, this person would like it, this person would like it. Oh, we've shown it to everybody we think would like the video, and they've either watched it or not. And then it tends to go back down. And you can make new friends. So like sometimes people will search and find a video and we're like, oh, maybe this is a new audience here. Or there'll be something in the news, or another big creator will make a video and you'll be in suggested. And there's ways that videos can find new audiences. But it's typically that like it goes through that pocket of audience. And when that's depleted, it goes back into like, we'll try and see if we can find a new audience. And if we find it, you might see bigger or smaller spikes as it goes along. And with some of these videos, it's like, oh man, the friend circle loved it. But as soon as you tell people who aren't as close friends, they're like, no, not for me. And then because the initial like love of that video was so high, the metrics are all great, but it didn't escape like gravity. And as soon as it hit casual, it just tanked. And the way statistics work is you won't really see that. It's like the amount of impressions you got compared to the amount of people, the core audience that loved it versus the casual, you just see those really good metrics. And you would expect to see those go down if it kept succeeding.
It makes sense. And so, yeah, your subscribers loved it. The initial velocity was there. And I think for those who dive into their analytics, though, they have maybe visibly seen that all of a sudden it was like getting this many views per hour, and then the drop seems dramatic. One of the possibilities of what has happened there, probably one of the most common possibilities, is it was really being consumed to a core audience. I've also heard it explained as circles. You may have just said that. So it's, it reaches that first circle and then it tests it on the wider circle, and viral could be the circle has gotten so broad.
Yeah.
But every time you stepped into that next circle, it hits a wall, and it's like, oh, the interest there, the view duration there, the click-through rate there is not the same. And thus algorithmically, it's like, whoa, why did YouTube just stop giving me impressions? Well, it's not that. It's not about your video. It's not trying to push your video. It's trying to satisfy viewers. And as it actually hit, and that's essentially the wall. More casual viewers, even if they're your super fans, you've got, or supposed super fans, you've got your core audience who loves your stuff. But just because they're subscribed, they subscribe for all kinds of different reasons. In fact, I heard you say once, subscribe means different things to different people. Explain that. Because just because you have a subscriber, like, wait a minute, I have 100,000 subscribers. Why are they not all watching it? Why are not all my videos getting 100,000 views? Well, not everyone's hit subscribe because like they wanted to see everything for every minute. What does subscribe mean, or what could it mean?
Yeah, so I have a friend, Dave Wiskus, who has a great analogy. He's like, subscriptions, number of subscribers is all the money you've ever had in the bank. It doesn't mean it's your current balance. Like those are active viewers. And for most people, that's a great number, like to just know every dollar you've ever had in your bank account. But what you care about is your current balance. And so care about like returning users or unique viewers, like what your current viewers are. That's much more important, because some people do subscribe as sort of like a mega like a super thanks. They're like, I love this. I'm going to hit subscribe because you deserve it. You earned it. Other people are like, I want to bookmark this channel. Like, it's not something I want to watch all the time, but I want to be able to come back to it. Other people are just like, hey, it varies by region. It varies by generation, how many people will subscribe. Some people just subscribed, and then like 3 years later, like if they were 13, now they're 16, completely different person. If they were like 15, now they're 20, completely different person. And people's interests change. And I think a lot of the times we don't think about our own behavior, but if we think of ourselves as viewers, go into the sub feed, see how often you clean that out, see how often you actually watch all the channels, think about how often you click through every video in there. Because I know I go to my sub feed every day, but I can't watch every video in my sub feed every day. So like subscribers is like, it's an interesting metric. If someone subscribed to you right now, they're probably really interested in you. If they subscribed to you 10 years ago and just never cleaned up their sub feed, probably not as interested anymore.
So one of the questions we actually get all the time is there's a lot of creators who started a channel sometime in their past. And you started back in 2018. The first channel I ever started was for my church in 2008. You started your first channel. I think it was in 2007 that we started a channel for my local church in our small town, and have started many channels since. There's others who have started maybe a personal channel. They uploaded a Backstreet Boys clip, the thing of their dog, some random recital or something, and then they abandoned it for a couple years. So people always wonder, should I post on my old channel or on my new channel? And the specific question actually said my old account from 2007 with some awful random videos. Is it better to start a new account, or is it helpful for the algorithm to use the old one? What would be your decision-making framework to decide, should I start a new channel or post on an old channel?
Yeah, I think like one of the nice things about YouTube is the algorithm tries not to have opinions. It just looks at behavior, like audience response. So I would, like, if you think that you have an audience there that is into you and this kind of stuff that you like, it could give you like an initial advantage. Like if people subscribed for whatever topic, but they just love the feeling you get them. Like some people are just really funny, and people initially come there and they watch like the video for the topic, and they're like, this creator is super funny. I love them. And that creator does something else and it's just as funny. They're there for it. Or like the Casey Neistat example, they don't really care what Casey does. They just want to watch Casey. So if you think that like there's some affinity for you or some crossover in what you've done then and what you've done now, that would just give you an initial push. Like it can be good to do, and I would experiment and try it. Like there's nothing to lose by trying it. But if you think it's completely different audiences, our usual advice is same audience, same channel, different audience, different channel. And then it'd be worth, like, if you think there's just no affinity for it or nothing to gain from it, start a new channel. Think of channels like shows. You know, like Bryan Cranston can be in Malcolm in the Middle and he can be in Breaking Bad, but if that was the same show, it'd be really confusing. So you can have like the same person, but like base your strategy on the audience, not on the host, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and there's certainly a point to be made if you're very much a personality or a personal brand that has done different things like a Casey Neistat, that you're asking yourself, yeah, why did they subscribe in the first place? We like to say, never upload videos your subscribers didn't subscribe for. And take that statement with a grain of salt, because you can experiment, you can research, but if people originally subscribe for Minecraft playthroughs and your new thing is you're really into vertical gardening, that might be a hard pivot. Saying that though, you might be Tim Ferriss, and Tim Ferriss is known for just kind of being his own experiment of trying things, whether that's fencing, whether that's biohacking, whether that's psychedelics, and so you're like, man, that seems really random, but you're like, no, it's Tim Ferriss. But like, you know, whether it's venture capital and investing, but you're following actually a personality, which is maybe why some people get confused too. And I do think there's something about topic though. So is it a topic-based channel? Did you subscribe for a particular topic? Yeah. Think Media has had different personalities on the channel over the years, but the through line is we still talk about cameras, best lighting, cameras, tools. And so, and while actually the changing of personalities could absolutely change viewer satisfaction, we have still found macro success by staying as much on brand as we could. So that's some great advice. They go deeper in this question and ask, though, should I delete in private old videos if they don't have anything to do with the new content that I'm making?
Yeah, so one way to think about that is so one of the ways YouTube works is watch history. So let's say you and I have almost identical watch histories, but you've watched some videos that I haven't. Those would be good candidates to recommend to me. And that goes back to that word of mouth thing. Like it understands that like you like similar things to me, so things I haven't seen, those are recommended. And watch history is like the connection that we have to those videos and those channels. So when you delete a video or private a video, it removes that connection. Now that might be something you want to do if you're like, you know, for whatever reason, but if you think that connection is worth maintaining because there is, again, that overlap with people who might enjoy the new thing, it's worth keeping it at that point. Because like, a lot of times people won't remember the topic of the video, they won't remember the subject of the video, they'll remember the way you feel. I remember the way they feel after that video, and they might want more of that feeling. So I would just try to get a sense of like, is it worth maintaining that connection? If you want to sever it, you can go ahead and delete in private that video. But if you want to maintain that connection as a way of like potentially getting more videos recommended to that person, I would keep it even if there's a variation in tone or content or topic.
Now, you might have stated on this earlier, and it could have been in part one of our conversation, but the question ultimately is, does engagement on different types of posts, and to define posts, if somebody watches a long form video and engages, a short and engages, or a community tab post, do they cross promote algorithmically? If somebody engages in a community tab post, theoretically, is it only going to make them see more community tab posts from that creator? And side note, there's actually community tab posts showing up in my feed. For me personally, it's usually like hip hop albums or classic hip hop albums, and people and these massive channels, they got a little square of the album covers. Which album from 2008 was the best? And it hits my feed, and I don't subscribe to the channel or follow the channel or watch videos on the channel. I might be consuming some of their shorts, meaning that, they're going through my feed. Yeah. So there's the big question is if I'm utilizing all these different formats, is there algorithmic crossover between the formats?
Yeah, so there are, what's referred to as bridges between the different formats. One thing I was going to mention earlier that sort of applies here too is one of the biggest problems creators have is expectational debt. So it goes to everything. Like if I make a video with very small appeal and it gets 10 out of 10, I might be devastated, even though there was no way that there was a big enough market for that video to get any more than that. And I didn't adjust my expectation. Like when I made videos about iPhone reviews, they were enormous. When I made videos about accessibility, they got very small views, but I knew that it was important. I thought it was important to make them, so I adjusted my expectations. This is similar to that. Some people, for example, if you're making long form and shorts, some people only watch shorts. They only want to watch short form video. Some people only watch certain topics on shorts. Like personally, I can watch a dancing short, but I wouldn't watch 10 minutes of dancing. Not that dancing isn't amazing. It's just like I prefer to watch other long form content. So I'll watch that in shorts. I wouldn't watch it in long form. So those parts of the audience, even though if they watch a lot of your shorts, we might recommend, or YouTube might recommend the long form video, they're just not inclined to watch it because they don't watch long form or they don't watch those topics on long form. There are people who do watch both though. So if they engage a lot with shorts, we can test recommending the long form videos as well. Whether they go across or not, it's a different story. You can also put that like related video link on your short. We found like creators who just put the link there will say like it doesn't work, but we found a lot of creators who who know like their audience is there for a feeling and they do it very intentionally and purposefully. And they'll say like, hey, for the rest of this, click the link right here, maybe pop up a thumbnail of what the video looks like. They have a lot more success in moving people over. The most important thing is like, think like the viewer. No viewer is going to watch something because you want them to. They're only going to watch it or engage because they want to. So it's our job as a creator to make them want to, or to get them excited about wanting to do it. Whether that's moving from a post to a short to a long to a live, we've got to make like a call to action and then reward them for taking that action. And that's what builds sort of cross-format affinity.
That's genius. And actually, I want to mention a video we'll link to in the show notes or an episode with the content strategist for Dave Ramsey, who has multiple channels, multiple personalities, multiple kind of a whole media empire. And he taught the 3-pillar strategy and how they do shorts and how I think it 10x'd their long form views, but they did it in a very particular way. To your point, it wasn't just accidental. It wasn't just throwing out a link, but they were very thoughtful and structured. And that is one of people's favorite episodes. So make sure to check that out later, and we'll link that out in the show notes. The last part of this question, though, is also, how are engagement metrics weighted on these different content types? And let me just isolate that to community tab. I'm assuming, and you can confirm for me, that like other social media platforms, even just dwell time is being registered by YouTube. If I stop on a community tab post and read it, even if I don't click like, I'm imagining YouTube is like, well, that's time on platform looking at the post. Is that true?
Well, you can click with attention. It's like people will ask us if someone is on their phone and they pause on a thumbnail and it starts to play, does that count as a view? And if they watch for long enough, they basically clicked with attention instead of clicking with their finger. So that will count as a view. So yeah, like if you started, like if we feel, or YouTube feels that you're giving attention to that thing, it does count as giving attention to that thing. It's just hard to put a number on things because there's so many different signals and all of them are very dependent on other signals. So, but in the large scheme of things, everything else being equal, whatever is not equal will win. So if you're doing a lot of something, that's going to count more than if you're doing a very little of something.
Interesting. So yeah, I mean, again, I will see community tab post. Maybe it's a poll, I'll vote. Maybe it's a poll or text or a carousel, I'll swipe. I don't necessarily click like or dislike. Just as a personal anecdote, I don't know if I've ever clicked dislike in my life. I think I've either just clicked like. I
haven't either.
Yeah, I think I've either just clicked like or done nothing. But
it is a way to tune though. Because there is personalization and ranking. If there are videos where you like the topic in general, but you don't like that specific kind of video, you can use the dislike button to sort of tune the recommendation engine to show you less of the videos you don't like, and the like button to show like more of the videos you do. So you can use that for personalized tuning.
Yeah, and would that be would it be accurate to say you're kind of up prioritizing or down prioritizing? You're still subscribed to the creator.
Yeah.
You don't unsubscribe from the creator. You've proven in your watch time you like the creator, but you might down prioritize perhaps a topic, and then algorithmically YouTube